Welcome in to Check the Mic. Steve Palazzolo, Sam Monson, live on YouTube. And it's time, Sam. Not for our review. We already did it.
Yeah.
Super Bowl 60 is in the books. It's off-season season. It's another mock draft. It's Mock Draft Monday from now until
forever.
Draft week. That's what's happening here.
Yep.
Monday at 9 a.m. This is where you need to be.
That's where you need to be. It's where we are, even though we were only in these chairs, whatever it was, 8.5 hours ago.
Really were. Yeah. Just happened.
Didn't even need to bring stuff home. Just left it here.
We did. I slept on the couch.
Be back here in a minute.
I didn't, but yeah, we're right into it. Chat's already cooking. Patriots should draft a QB. We got it. It's off season. It's overreaction season. It's a great time. Need a left tackle. Need a quarterback. Seattle's fixed. They're fine. Don't need anything. So yeah, we'll do the various forms of mock drafting. Mm-hmm. The last couple mocks that we've done, it was you and I working together. Now we'll alternate picks.
Does that mean we're in competition? We're working against each other?
We're just splitting the workload.
Oh, okay.
We'll say.
Harrison's delighted. We're on brand. We're both 33rd team swag merchandise.
New swag.
Ta-da!
Freshly delivered.
I took off the beanie because it's warm in here.
Well, yeah,
that
you
would
don't
look
need
weird.
that for the show.
Right. But that's also 33rd team branded.
Fresh 33rd team Jordan swag from Super Bowl week.
Mine's not Jordan. Mine's Nike. We're rocking.
You're Nike.
We're competing.
I've got Jordan because
not competing. I guess they're subsidiaries, right? Still, it's not quite the same.
Shout out to Harrison in the chat. Says we look great. He's a member, so we gotta
it's
acknowledge
true.
it.
And gifting members as well.
He was gifting memberships. Again, appreciate everybody.
Throwing around the money.
Appreciate everybody with us last night during the watch along, and then after the show. Got to not only, if you haven't seen it yet, not only talked about the Super Bowl for about an hour, but all the other news and notes around the NFL.
Yeah, cover the
MVP race, James Pierce.
The James Pierce Jr. thing, and then, yes, the last, several days of the MVP vote debacle.
The one other thing that's different is normally we've been at the Super Bowl and on a Monday morning just, traveling.
Yeah,
last year we
trying to get home.
Wandering around New Orleans waiting for our Allegiant flight.
Getting beignets.
A couple years ago, we were sick in Vegas. Did we stay an extra day? Did we come home on Tuesday?
No, I think we didn't. We get.
Did we come home on Tuesday?
No, we came because I was in we were in the pits.
Yeah, you were in a rough
shape.
I
think we came right out.
So anyway, we get to we're going to work this year.
It's nice not being traveling today. Yes, because traveling the day after the Super Bowl is a train wreck.
There's definitely a part of me that wishes I was at the game.
Yeah.
Given last year, got to go to the game, the atmosphere is fun. But when you get home on a Saturday.
I mean, there's so many.
Now we're home. We don't have to deal with travel on a Monday. It's a little better.
Seeing the game is pretty awesome, but there were several elements of yesterday where it was I'm glad I'm not doing that. Rob Mattey's journaling of getting to the game on a bus that was lost and being directed by Josina Anderson, that didn't sound fun. Getting booted off an elevator so that Justin Bieber could get on, that didn't sound fun. Being an hour and a half away from getting back anywhere, that didn't sound fun. And having to travel back home wouldn't have sounded fun. Yet here we are. Maybe
that's the one thing Josina is good at is directions.
Well, they have to walk at 20 minutes at the end of it, so I don't know that that's true.
All right. It's mock draft time. Here's what we're doing today. It is you and I alternating. Mm-hmm. You want to flip a coin? Do you want to go first?
I don't care.
I'll let you go first.
Thank you.
Do the honors.
The Raiders are picking Fernando Mendoza.
I just gave you the layup.
Okay, I need to somehow. Oh, there we go. Right, there's this stupid windows.
Other stuff happening as we get into off-season mode here. We leave for the Combine in 2 weeks. It's a fast off-season, man. We're going to Indy 2 weeks from today. We'll be heading out there. So we'll have our Monday mock drafts. We've got Indy in 2 weeks. We'll get all the news and notes coming from there, some quick-hitting interviews, and just full off-season draft and free agency mode. We'll have free agent previews coming up, off-season interviews, other draft takes from other people. Let us know if there's someone you want to hear from when it comes to the draft. We know we'll have the regulars. We'll have Renner. We'll have Dane Brugler. You were buddies with Daniel Jeremiah. You got to get DJ on the show at some point.
Yeah, I had a little chat at the Senior Bowl with DJ.
So we have some guests that we can line up during
is
draft season here.
Problematic if I can't figure out how to get rid of this little window picture-in-picture thing.
It looks fine on the screen.
Yeah, I know, but unfortunately on my screen it's showing me the Google Meet thing pops into a little window. There, okay, I've got to click on the right page. I think we're good now. There we go. Perfect. All right, done. You're up. New York Jets are on the clock. Pick number 2.
So remember, thought exercise. Just having some fun here.
Just exercise.
Discussion points. anything on the Raiders and Mendoza, it's going to be It's going to be like last year. We just said Cam Ward, Titans. Yeah. Any discussion added to that? By the way, Clint Kubiak did announce that he will officially become the Raiders head coach.
Right. So they got a coach, and I think we said before. I think that is a pretty good combination. I think that would be true for Kubiak and most people. But I think Mendoza is a good fit there. But it's going to be that until at some point in this exercise of mock drafts, we're going to have a trade on the table that the Raiders. It's too good for the Raiders to turn down or whatever. Today is not that day.
Yeah, and I don't see it happening. I do wonder if does the personality thing ever work against him for the Raiders in particular, given the history? Like, is there a chance that Mark Davis is just like, is this really what
Yeah, but he'll get overruled by Tom.
Oh, I agree.
Tom will say, "Look, I love this. This kid's exactly what I want to see in a quarterback."
Would Al Davis?
Al Davis would not no. Al Davis would say, "Hell no. Get me a guy get me Ken Stabler with a 6-pack and a bag of cigarettes."
And a 4.2 receiver.
Right. He looks 35 at the age of 20.
Give me a receiver who runs 4.2 and a QB who gets after it.
No, Al Davis would definitely not love that. Mark Davis doesn't really matter if he loves it or not, Tom will say. And Tom,
all right.
Tom will love it.
Fernando Mendoza to the Raiders at number 1 puts the Jets up on the clock. I have gone Ruben Bain for them quite a bit here. The only way a lot of arm length discussions last year at this time, and I know Will Campbell's coming off of a performance in which he gave up somewhere between 3 and 14 pressures, depending on your source.
A bad day for short arm people everywhere.
It was, but that's not the reason why that happened. But the reason why the arm length comes up for Ruben Bain, and we're going to keep talking about it unless he tests fine, is I am a big believer in avoiding outliers. Now, that's just a broad statement.
Sure.
But you have to define what an inlier is first before you take out outliers.
Is that a thing?
I just made it up.
Yeah.
You have to define something that you care about first before you say, like if you really care about height for a QB, then you just never take a short quarterback. Or if you care about production, then you never take a non-productive guy. If you care about athleticism, then you never take a guy below thresholds. So I believe in that stuff. I'm just not sure that the arm length thing with Bain, where he's reportedly under 31-inch arms and no one's ever made the Pro Bowl like that on the edge. I don't know. Is it a thing? Is it not?
This is why, we're just running through a series of everybody in the AFC said no to the Pro Bowl until they got to Shedeur Sanders and Joe Flacco. And meanwhile, people are still using nobody's ever made the Pro Bowl with this particular criteria. Now, I guess you could argue it's working in your direction that way. Like, if nobody's made the Pro Bowl and literally people, whatever it is, the 14th best quarterback in the conference is the first guy that says yes, and still nobody's made the Pro Bowl with this criteria, that's pretty bad.
But maybe it's actually good criteria, because if it's so watered down, if you don't have one, you're in trouble.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's actually working in your direction, but it's still kind of a farcical measurement to be using for things.
All that said, Bain's my guy until I'm proven otherwise.
You're slotting into 1-2 in this draft, Mendoza and then Bain, not just the Mendoza's going to be number 1 every time.
Yeah, that's where I'm falling here. I mean, look, our draft work, you and I individually, it's an ongoing process as far as I still have full takes to construct on Arvell Reese. I've got
crafting a take.
Still crafting. Still crafting takes around Caleb Downs' value. Would I take him at 5? Would I rather take him at 12 or 13?
It's like, have you seen Crazy Horse Mountain in North Dakota? Mount Rushmore, right?
Yeah.
They're building what is a spectacularly better version of Mount Rushmore, a monument to Crazy Horse, the American Indian, Native American chieftain. They're taking the entire mountain and turning it into a sculpture of Crazy Horse riding his horse, right? Like the whole mountain. It's insane. And so but obviously doing that, right, takes A, an awful lot of time, and B, a lot of money, and happens slowly, right? So they're slowly sort of whittling down this mountain. And where it is right now, if you Google Crazy Horse Mountain or whatever, if the current state of it is basically where you are with your Arvell Reese take. It's like, I'm crafting this, where we've shaped it. It's roughly in the shape that we're looking for, but I got to, actually turn it into something from now on.
That's great. That's funny. That's good. That's where we are. Wait till draft week.
Yeah, then you'll have a fully formed Crazy Horse Mountain.
It'll be pristine. In all transparency here, as people ask about the model and who my guys are, I'm in talks with multiple NFL clubs.
Right? Clubs. Ball clubs.
They're clubs. We say clubs at the executive level. Club. Clubs are doing this. Clubs are doing that.
Clubs in the NFL and programs in college?
Programs in college. And so being in talks where more of my data-centric opinions, they're going to need to be reserved. So I'm trying to do a solid.
Thread and needle.
Yeah. I'm trying to do a solid. Like, you're going to get my more film-based analysis here. And you'll see there'll be some crossover, but I got to say, you got to save some for the consultancy.
Don't put your, actually, that's not the right. It's like the early days of PFF, where you had to thread the needle between how much do you give out to the public versus the stuff that's being reserved for teams, Yeah. It's like you can put, I would always think, other people thought differently, right? Other people were wrong. I would always think that you can put basically anything you like out in moderation, right? So you can, there's no thing that's off limits. You just can't put it all out, right? You just a little bit here and a thing there.
Yeah.
So I think you can do that with your model. It's like I'm not going to put the whole thing out, but I can put little bits and pieces here and there.
Just keep the models right here.
It's all up in the name.
My brain.
All up in the noggin.
That's right. All that said, you've already clicked Ruben Bain.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going to go here with the Jets at 2. Fernando Mendoza, the number 1 pick, and number 2, Ruben Bain. Puts you up on the clock for the Arizona Cardinals.
Does. The Cardinals, I think they kind of need defense. I think that's their most obvious place. In a different year, maybe you'd go the offensive line for them, but I don't know that I'm going to go down as far. I don't know that any of these offensive linemen are going to get taken this high, even though they'll probably go higher than you think they will, just because offensive linemen always go higher than you think they will. To me, this would come down to the next 2 guys on the order as it is currently. Arvell Reese, your crazy horse, versus David Bailey, the edge rusher from Texas Tech. And just because I'm scared of the currently unformed ball of clay, or the currently unformed crazy horse mountain, I'm going to go with David Bailey, the more prototypical edge rusher.
So Bain at 2, Bailey at 3. When we talk, I hate saying this, draft isn't as strong, but like, Bain I'm good with. Bailey, I thought he was a fringe first rounder. I thought he would get a lot of love this year when he transferred to Texas Tech. And I thought he'd have a good season. I thought he'd be in the first round mix. I wasn't necessarily expecting him to get up into the top 10 mix, but I think the way this draft,
it's funny. A lot of people don't like drafts that look like this, where it's like, man, we're really low on blue chip players, and it's like, it's a weak draft. I kind of like these drafts because usually the top is too easy to just be like, well, here's a blue chip player at a position of need, and here's the team that needs that done, right? And you almost end up locking in the top 10 way before the draft, whether or not you're right. But the consensus ends up being, this is what the top 10 of this draft looks like, and everyone
2021 felt like the best example of that, where there was a whole bunch of QBs. And
everyone just ends up,
Chase
the mock drafts,
like
the first 8 picks or whatever, look the same for everybody for like 2 months.
Yeah.
I like drafts like this, where it's like anything can happen after pick 1. We have 1 pick basically locked in.
And it's early. Like, groupthink can jump in soon, and we might have a top 5 that looks similar. But right now it does feel like it diverges earlier than ever.
Yeah.
Earlier than ever.
Like, you are fairly locked in on Ruben Bain at number 2, but I think a lot of other people aren't. So it diverges immediately.
I agree. I absolutely agree. So you're going to go Cardinals at 3. We should at least discuss for Arizona quarterback and where we stand on the QBs. Ty Simpson, number 2 on the consensus board, and I think on most expectations, but he's the only other guy in the top 32 in the consensus right now. Trinidad Chambliss, number 3 on the consensus board, Ole Miss quarterback. I don't know if his fight is over with trying to get a 6th year of eligibility or a final year of eligibility at Ole Miss, but he's number 3 at 64 on the consensus board. Garrett Nussmeier at 73 on the consensus board. So we're looking at 1 clear first rounder in Mendoza, Ty Simpson as a fringe first rounder.
Right.
And we'll have to have our own debates about that when it comes to Arizona, Cleveland, the Jets, and Dolphins at 11.
I mean, my basic assumption is that nobody in the top half of the first round is considering Ty Simpson.
Yeah.
With that pick, maybe those teams are considering Ty Simpson, but as a second half of the first round player with a second pick, or a jump back into the first round kind of guy.
While we're here, and the rumors came out that Derek Carr
Yeah.
could potentially unretire. So what's going to happen
For the right offer.
Like, let's just discuss it right now. What's going to happen between now and the draft? Malik Willis, where could teams actually fill their quarterback holes?
Free agent Malik Willis.
Free agent Malik Willis.
Potential trade candidate Mac Jones, even though I think the 49ers have said, no, he's staying.
Yeah, which is, that's their leverage.
Yeah.
So trade candidate Mac Jones.
And it's what you say now, regardless of whether he's
I think, was there another trade candidate in there?
Uh,
Somebody should look at. And then there's Derek Carr, potentially unretiring.
Derek Carr potentially unretiring, and Kirk Cousins being cut at some point will happen.
I got one for you. What if the Raiders go back to Derek Carr with Clint Kubiak, and they take the haul from Mendoza? Because Carr was, I know he's with the Raiders forever, but he was with Kubiak with the Saints last year.
So, as much as ascribing everything the Raiders do to Tom Brady is probably silly, it's still fun. I do feel like Fernando Mendoza, the nerdiness, the LinkedIn profile, et cetera, I think that will resonate with Tom Brady. I feel like, the way it feels like there's always been something missing to Derek Carr's game, and that's why he's always been solid but not great. I think Brady can see that. And I think that would antagonize him.
Was Carr the guy that he said that he wanted to be a Raider, and he said, you're sticking with that guy? Was that him, or was that Garoppolo?
But I feel like
Niners?
I feel like Brady would instantly see the thing that's missing from Derek Carr, and it would have a visceral negative reaction. Like he would see everything wrong with him and not be able to see anything else. Like all Derek Carr would be to Brady is like a walking, interception.
Yeah, I'm not expecting this to happen. I just started connecting dots here. So keep an eye on Carr. If he unretires, would the Saints have to trade him? I believe. Either way, he could fill one. I feel like Miami might be the most logical one.
That would, yeah.
If they wanted a quick.
I don't know how they're getting rid of Tua, though. They're kind of.
Oh, they're just going to eat that salary.
Right, but like.
I mean, that's another one. Does Tua.
Nobody's signing up to have Tua as their starting quarterback.
Arizona?
No. Oh, Kyler is going to be available at some point.
Kyler's who I'm thinking of, yeah. So Kyler in Miami. I'm real fascinated by what the Jets are going to do. I think there's going to be a tug of war between the long-term planning of the front office and the short-term
and Aaron Glenn having 6 minutes left of his career.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a challenge. I mean, because like when you talk about people, it's like, what went wrong with Aaron Glenn? It's like, man, given that Justin Fields, the 2-year the $20 million, $15 million, whatever it was, $20 million. It's like, again, I always go back to what are the other options?
It is kind of wild that he's still there. Like, I can't remember a more like what's the term I'm looking for here? The guy with only 1 year left in his deal that's walking wounded that's on his way out. What's the lame duck? I can't remember a more lame duck head coach than Aaron Glenn already just 1 year into his career. It's like
in a rebuild.
He is gone. I mean, I don't understand why he's still there given that they fired everybody else in the coaching staff. It's like, no, let's keep him around. What would the odds be right now? There must be odds out there of Aaron Glenn to make it through next season. Because I wouldn't take that bet, whatever they are.
The roster's probably another year away.
Right. Anyway, Titans.
So for the Titans, I would have taken David Bailey, but you just took him.
Correct.
I'll probably flip it the other way then and go Arvell Reese for right now.
Crazy horse mountain.
Despite the crazy horse take being constructed, I think for Tennessee, they need pass rushers.
So where does he play for you in Tennessee?
I'm putting him on the edge.
Okay.
I think ultimately the NFL wants him as an edge rusher. Again, my hesitancy is going to be I like edge rushers who I've seen do it
right
over a long period of time. I will warn you a little bit that his pressure numbers and his pass rush win rates and everything are fantastic, but a lot of them are coming from an off-ball location, which inflates those stats.
They're going to be skewed.
Right. So there'll be some numbers that say Arvell Reese is 1 of 1. The thing that would talk me back into it, like he's got excellent power. He's done it at least a little bit, shown some of that.
Remind people, what is his rough size profile?
What's his actual size?
Because it's all fake, right, at the moment until we actually see measurements.
240, 250, where is he? I don't have it. have it on this. Give me a second.
But we're talking a generally undersized linebacker / edge hybrid who hasn't actually been much of a hybrid.
Sight actually have height, weight? Like, there it is. 6'4", 243.
Okay.
It's enough, but he's like a power type player. He hits a hard edge setting type of player.
It's the 243 that's going to scare people, right?
A little bit, but it's also what he hasn't done, right? So we're in this age of Micah Parsons, Abdul Carter,
right?
Jalen Walker, guys who were linebackers converted to the edge.
He's more in the Micah Parsons world in terms of like he hasn't done it yet.
Yeah, but he's explosive.
Abdul Carter, we at least saw the year of him moving to the edge. And we're like, all right, that works.
Right, and so they all did it at the college level more often.
Yeah, like Micah Parsons was a surprise that he then transitioned. Like I know people had said it. Oh, Micah Parsons is so good rushing the passer, we could move him to the edge. But he was drafted as an off-the-ball linebacker. And Dallas kind of fell into this. Oh, look, we found one of the best edge rushers in football. But they drafted him as an off-the-ball linebacker. That's where he had been playing, and he kind of transitioned to the edge. It wasn't necessarily a plan. But this one will likely be more of a plan just because that precedent has already been set.
And I see the debate about, so Robert Saleh's there. He a big four-man rush guy.
Yeah.
Four-man, 4-3, four-man down. But he drafted Will McDonald in the first round, who was undersized.
Right.
And you might say, well, that didn't work. He doesn't play the run well. I'm just saying it's in Saleh's nature to have an undersized, get up the field pass rusher. I think Bailey would be ideal there. But like a Reese doesn't feel, I know he's a linebacker conversion. I don't think he feels slight. Honestly, Bailey feels slighter the way he plays. I don't know what his arm length is going to come up as, but he's more of a twitched up pass rusher in the Will McDonald mold,
right? Where
I think Reese is more of a Jared Verse power edge type, despite what the weight says. So that's his style. I think it'll be fine. Here.
Yeah, I mean, Saleh's definitely not afraid of those guys that are, let's just term them for the moment, situational pass rushers. Now, this is really high to be drafting a situational pass rusher, but you're right. They drafted Will McDonald high. They had Bryce Huff cooking for a year, who he obviously liked enough to bring him into San Francisco when they were in trouble and his career had kind of run off the tracks. He's like 10 pounds heavier than that, but still he's pretty slight in terms of, and he was like a legitimate situational pass rusher for most of his production with the Jets. So he's definitely not afraid of guys that are like undersized being productive edge rushers.
So I'm leaning Reese here. I just want to, for the Titans,
okay,
I want to discuss, this feels like pass rusher or receiver for them.
Right.
They've got J.C. Latham is still there at tackle, even if they want to move him into guard. Like, there's no other premium position that is as high as they need some sort of disruption on the edge. Massive need this offseason.
But if you are moving J.C. Latham into guard, you're potentially in the tackle market.
They have nothing on the edge.
Sure.
They have nothing, not nothing at receiver, but they need more impact receivers. I just don't know if Jordan Tyson, Carnell Tate, Mekhi Lemon, those top three.
I mean, this is a team in bits. They need everything. Like
they do.
Yeah.
So for this iteration, I'm going to go pass rusher. I think their ideal is a Bain, a Bailey. I think Reese would be my third choice here, but I get it. So I'm going to take Arvell Reese here for the Titans.
Clicked. Brings up the New York Giants.
You get the Caleb Downs first decision here.
Yeah. You think that starts at 5?
I just think the Harbaugh connection here. The Kyle Hamilton, Harbaugh connection.
What do you make? Okay, so let's, while we're derailing the mock draft every Monday.
It's the discussion that you come for the discussion.
Thought exercise.
The thought exercise.
Let's exercise the thoughts and say.
And we're going to spend most of that time probably on the top 10.
One of the things that Harbaugh, John, of the John variety, has been very good at throughout his career has been hiring very good coordinators beneath him, right? And that's probably quite an important thing, given that he comes from a special teams background, wasn't necessarily an offensive or defensive guy, and that's kind of one of the not unique, but one of the rare characteristics or one of the defining characteristics of John Harbaugh as a head coach. What do you make of the hirings that he's made with the Giants since getting the job?
Who's the DC there now?
He brought in
Matt Nagy on at offensive coordinator. I'm not going to lie. I'm having trouble keeping up with the musical chairs.
Right.
Especially when there's, he lost associate head coach Daniel Stern, went to the Browns with Todd Monken. He was there. I thought he was going to go with Harbaugh. They have Denard Wilson, so he's coming from Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is a Ravens derivative scheme that they're running. The Nagy one is really interesting because I don't think there were any connections there between him and Harbaugh. And Nagy...
He's been the subject of this weird PR campaign for the last couple of months, right? Where, remember, he was being hyped up as the guy to get the head coaching job in Tennessee. And you're like, why? Like, nothing about his resume says that he's a good retread candidate as a head coach. It never made any sense to begin with. And then when he didn't get that job, it turns out that actually that might have just been the Chiefs running a PR campaign for him because they were going to get rid of him if he didn't get hired away, right? It's like, we're going to try and get him hired off this staff because the alternative is we're going to fire him effectively or, soft fire him or whatever the actual mechanism was, but we're going to get rid of him. And we don't want to do that to the man because we like him. He might not be great at his job right now and we want to get him out of the building, but we like him. He's a nice guy, right? So it's like we're going to try and get him hired off the staff, and if we can't do that, we're getting rid of him. And then, so they did, and then somehow he ends up on John Harbaugh's staff as the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah, so a lot of, as the chat's saying, the Chiefs fans, who, by the way, wanted to run Eric Bieniemy out of town because things collapsed.
And now he's back in the savior again.
Things collapsed on him in 2021, and they still won the Super Bowl in 22. But they got the pre-post Mahomes stats, which I think was far more driven by Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce rather than the play calling.
Yeah.
But you could definitely see, the Chiefs' offense.
The narratives are all over the place with this Chiefs' offense over the last, half a dozen years between Nagy, Bieniemy, Mahomes, Reed. The whole thing is chaos.
And I know there was a crossover year in 2022 where probably Mahomes' best overall season because he didn't have Tyreek Hill. And still wins the MVP in the Super Bowl, and they were great in 22. But since that point, and that's where it's like, well, Bieniemy out and Nagy in.
Right.
But at the same time, wouldn't Bieniemy help elsewhere? I mean, generally, I like to avoid all those who have been in and around the elite quarterbacks, unless in Andy Reid's case, he's done it.
Right.
Like it's his history here. Right, he's done it with Favre and Alex Smith and everybody.
Or Mike McCarthy, and you can say,
I
developed Joe Montana in Kansas City.
Aaron Brooks, Dak Prescott, Aaron Rodgers. Brooks was in the deck.
Was he?
He was in the slide. Wow. Saints, Aaron Brooks, early 2000s.
I was responsible for that.
I mean, he had a couple good seasons, Aaron Brooks. He had the one play, the best play I've ever seen in NFL history, where he threw it backwards.
The best play.
The best, worst play I've ever seen in NFL
just an early prototype Jameis.
Hagel's like, dude, you're going to be here for 12 hours on a Monday morning that we just finished our last show 8 hours ago.
Man must hate his life sometimes.
That's what we're doing.
Anyway.
So you have your Raven-style defense.
Yeah.
You have your Nagy offense.
Whatever that is.
The Giants have some very good pieces. I mean, I got 7 months of hype in them. They have some very good players on both sides of the ball, some good nucleus pieces.
Right.
Where they clearly underachieved last year.
Yeah. So they're the first team, I think, on this list. The reason I think, I'm not to, construct your own argument for you, but the reason I think Caleb Downs becomes a discussion here is, number one, because of Harbaugh, but number two, because you're already out of blue chip players at positions that make sense, right? So you're into like the next tier where it's like the tackles would be a spot, but do you love any tackle at 5 overall? It's a weird spot this draft where you're already down to, okay, yes, Caleb Downs is a safety, but he's also the best player in this draft, arguably, and we're already out of blue chip players. So do you take him here?
And then we're going to construct the same argument about Jeremiah Love.
Yeah, exactly. A little bit later on, just because he's a running back. I don't think they're taking a wide receiver. I think they're good enough at that spot with the return of Malik Neighbors that they're not going to be forcing that at this spot. I do think that this is maybe the earliest that offensive tackle would be in play. Like, I think that offensive line was much better a year ago, but is still a work in progress and could still, use extra players there. I honestly think this might be where the first tackle could go off the board.
Yeah, I think that's definitely in play. I'm not saying Caleb Downs is a lock. I just think that's...
No, I think you're right. This is where I think the discussion probably starts.
Yes, we had that discussion on the last mock, Kyle Hamilton versus...
I don't know that you're taking a corner this high, even though I think that's a position of need. defensive lineman maybe, even though that defensive line is loaded. I think this might be the first tackle spot. So remind me, Francis Maui-Noah?
Maui-Noah.
Francis Maui-Noah is where I'm going to go for the Giants.
All right, you're taking
5
the Giants.
overall.
Taking Maui-Noah for the Giants. He is 4th on the consensus board, by the way.
There we go.
Puts the Browns. So Giants are taking Maui-Noah to play tackle. Browns are up on the clock at pick 6. Don't forget they have 6 and where's their other 24 in this draft after the Travis Hunter trade. Browns at 6. I think certainly need some weapons for their Pro Bowl quarterback.
Pro Bowl quarterback. Shedeur.
I am interested in their Ty Simpson evaluation. I think the teams that have the 2 picks that need quarterbacks, the Jets and Browns, are interesting for Ty Simpson.
Do you buy, by the way, I mean, you saw the video, right, of Todd Monken being like, we tried to draft you in Baltimore, and, shucks, giggles, et cetera. Because the thing was, right, the Ravens were trying to, draft him in the 5th round, and apparently Shedeur's camp was like, we don't want you to take us because, you've got Lamar Jackson, blah, blah, blah.
I mean, that's true.
Sure, right? But, that just means they wanted him in the 5th round or whatever. It's it's not that much of an endorsement. You know what I mean? The point is, you're Monken meets Shedeur, right? And they're all yucking it up, we really wanted you. It's like, look, Monken loves this guy. It's like, in the 5th round, how? But my point is, does that mean anything, right? Is there any? No. Did Shedeur's stock get any boost whatsoever by the fact that Todd Monken was hired and apparently the Ravens wanted him a round earlier than the Browns did?
No, same analysis. Okay. Like bringing in a 5th rounder where if he does well, good for you. It's great.
Right.
Yeah, they'll bring in something. They'll bring in someone. But yeah, I would do that too. Build the young man's confidence.
Of course. I mean, there's no downside to being like, hey, we loved you, yada yada.
You don't lie to him. We were going to draft you. You guys said no. So.
That's the part that's missing from that little, lovey video.
It's all true. Browns at 6. Now, they have massive needs, offensive line and receiver. I think a lot of their debate, if we push quarterback aside, is how many teams over the last few years have had this wide receiver or tackle debate? Yeah. Going back to the Jamar Chase Bengals thing.
Nice.
To the meme. You need a tackle or 2.
And a wide receiver.
Our friend Andrew Siciliano, as he said, before he headed off to Milan to do the Gold Zone. We talked to him on Radio Row, and we gave him the opportunity to fix the Browns. That'll be coming out sometime this week here. And he said they have 3 offensive linemen under contract. So clearly that's the starting point. We know something's going to happen in free agency. Bob. And so then the debate's going to be, do you take a tackle here, receiver later, or do you flip it? And you always go to the depth, and it's easier to get tackles high. You usually have to get your tackles high, and it's harder to get them later in the 1st round. Generally easier to get receivers later. In this case, though, I'm going to go Carnell Tate, Ohio State receiver. I like him. I like him a tick more than Tyson. Mekhi Lemon's going to be interesting. The other discussion that we had on Radio Row, the great Cosell, Greg Cosell. And he's done a lot of work on the receivers. We should have him. We'll have him on the show at some point here, potentially. And he doesn't love all the receivers. Right? So it's where we are in this draft, right? Like Malik Neighbors, Marvin Harrison Jr., Roma Dunze went in the top 10 a couple years ago, and we were like, hey, these guys are number 1 receivers in any draft class. Maybe we were wrong, but this draft class, it's like, is Tate really a number 1 first off the board receiver? Is Tyson? Is Mekhi Lemon just a slot only, even though today's NFL, that's a clouded role? But I'll take Carnell Tate, size and downfield ability that the Browns really need here.
All right, puts Washington on the clock at number 7. I think pretty much every team from this point on is at least having a conversation about Caleb Downs. Again, just because theoretically he's your blue chip player. It's a position not necessarily of need, but Kyle Hamilton, Nick Imanwari, how valuable actually is that guy if you hit on a dude that is a legitimate game changer? I think it's probably more valuable than people are giving it credit for. So I think everyone at this point is at least having this conversation when their pick comes up. I don't know that we're getting to that stage quite yet with Jeremiah Love, but at some point that'll be the similar thing. I think Washington are in the market for quite a lot of these things. Again, offensive line, they still need help with. I think they're probably in the wide receiver market, even though they've got, Terry McLaurin and they They traded for Deebo Samuel, et cetera. I don't think that precludes you from taking a wide receiver in the first round.
I would love that. I mean, I think pass rusher for Washington is such a
they were loving it.
massive
Like
need.
if Reuben Bain fell to here, I think
Yeah.
they would be over the moon and just throw that pick in.
I think Washington, the Saints, and the Chiefs, these next 3 picks, and the Bengals at 10, would love for one of the top 3 players that defensive players that we've just taken, Bain, Bailey,
Yeah.
Reese, to fall.
Right.
Would love one of those guys. And I think their fans would love one. But if they're off the board, it gets a little trickier.
Yeah. I think corner is still a pretty significant need, even though they threw some young players at that last year. They, the trade for, again, they did so many of these trades and, tried to add these impact veteran players theoretically for a run last year because, the Jaden Daniels, NFC Championship game, et cetera, and it just didn't work, right? And now some of them were good players, but the Marshawn Lattimore thing, I think, was particularly bad. And I think they really do need to add corner. So Jamon McCoy from Tennessee, Mansour Delane from LSU, I think they'd be in the corner market as well. Which way would I go with this?
Tough one.
Yeah.
For Washington.
I think I might take the top corner off the board.
Really?
Yeah. I think that's their biggest need, acute need.
I just like that we're mixing it up.
I would like I said, I would go edge rusher if one of the top guys was still here. But absent that, I think the next need would be corner. So I'm going to go McCoy.
Jamon McCoy, coming off injury, Tennessee, but I liked him. I know a lot of people like him quite a bit. There are some interesting corners in this class near the top here. So Jamon McCoy, Tennessee corner, going to Washington at 7. It's going to put the Saints up on the clock. And here's what we're going to I can't wait to – our friend Nick Underhill, Saints insider, can't wait to hear. He's usually got some pretty good sources over there for where they're leading. I don't know if the Saints do a great job of hiding who they love. Can't wait to see.
Well, or they might do a great job of hiding it. He's just that plugged in.
Maybe it's all Nick. But we'll talk to him at the Combine. We'll have him on the show too. So I think as we get closer to the draft, if you're a Saints fan, you'll get some really good inside info from Nick here. They're going to get connected to Jeremiah Love, and I think this is going to be the fan bases that are going to be debating Jeremiah Love, Saints at 8, Chiefs at 9. That's already starting to come up. Cowboys at 12, depending on what happens with Javonte Williams. Rams, maybe. I doubt it with what they have. But that might be it for Love for a little bit here until maybe the Vikings at 18. No Kwesi anymore. So the Saints at 8, I think they could use disruptors on the defensive side. They could use weapons on the offensive side for Tyler Shuck. Do we need a compliment here for Chris Olave? I think Mekhi, I got to go back to the Mekhi Lemon film now that Greg's got me doubting myself. Because he put him into this, I didn't love him.
Well, he said he was somewhere between Amon-Ra St. Brown and Khalil Shakir. I think
which is a good, but then it goes,
which is a really good player.
It is.
But his point is, how much do you value that? Obviously Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Remember your Emeka Egbuka take last year, though.
Which was what?
There's no way. This thing's on silent.
I don't understand how you can't operate an iPad. It's unbelievable to me. What was my Egbuka take? Well,
he was on that slot receiver spectrum of there's a Cooper Kupp, there's Amon-Ra St. Brown, there's Khalil Shakir, there's Chris Godwin.
Well, he's a great example because like through half the season, everyone was like, all of you people are idiots. This guy's the best receiver in this draft class. And then the second half of the season was quiet, and it ends up shaking out.
Everybody's right.
Yeah, so the second half of the season, everybody's right, and or momentum, like the direction of travel has been negative, so nobody's talking about it anymore. But my point is, Amon-Ra St. Brown would clearly be worth a first-round pick if you, went and redid his career and started over knowing what you know now type of deal, right? You redrafted knowing who Amon-Ra St. Brown is.
That's me. It's on silent, and then I changed the ringtone volume. But it had to tell me what the volume is.
Right.
But it's on silent, so it's not supposed to ring.
Yeah. Like if you redrafted now, Amon-Ra St. Brown is clearly worth a first-round draft pick,
Absolutely.
right? And a high one, like a top 10 draft pick. what would Khalil Shakir be worth if you redrafted now? Because he's been their best
Probably
receiver for a while.
Still probably a 2.
Right. So
late first.
if you say he's between
if you got
those
that production
two things,
from a late 1, you'd still be okay.
That's what I'm saying. So if you split the difference and said he's between Amon-Ra and Khalil Shakir, that does make him worth probably a mid-first round pick. Now, we're not in the mid-first round. We're at pick number 8, so it's a little bit rich for that. But it's you know what I mean? I think people still undervalue that as a thing. What if you get that type of receiver somewhere in the middle of that spectrum? It's still really good.
No, I agree. I hear you. You're playing, but
But it isn't that impact.
There's uncertainty, though, in what you're actually getting, right? That's the other part of it. You don't know exactly what a player is.
Yeah,
You're just projected.
Amon-Ra
uncertainty.
is great, but if he's less than that, and he's somewhere on that spectrum, and he Khalil Shakir is not the number one do everything receiver that you need if you don't have one of those guys, right? Amon-Ra is. So if he's somewhere between the two, that's the delineation point that I think affects your value. It's if he can't be the number one guy and you not be left with some problems in your offense, that's what caps the value.
And the point about a slot only, which was a very derogatory term 10 to 15 years ago in the NFL before the slot became a full-time starter in almost every offense, it was derogatory because they don't play as many snaps, and it means they can't handle press coverage, and it means they can't win on the outside.
That's the thing. It's more slot only, I think, is probably a misnomer because I honestly don't know that there's any difference between a guy that's what was termed slot only and the Z receiver. It's just the X, right? The thing is, can you play X or not? It's can you be the number one guy on the outside and handle press coverage in isolated situations, down the sideline vertically, effectively. So I think the difference between a slot and just a Z is nothing anymore.
Yeah.
But the difference is, can he play X?
And the difference here is it is easier, even as an X, it's easier to hide that player you have more tight splits. You just have you have more players playing multiple roles, and it's less derogatory of a term these days. All that said, I think the Saints are going to be linked to Jeremiah Love the most. And again, this isn't necessarily here's what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit of prediction, a little bit of trying to figure it out, a little bit of what I would do. That's how we do it. We have poetic license, pick by pick.
Thought exercise.
It's a thought exercise. So my thoughts are going to exercise Jeremiah Love at 8 here for the Saints. This is how they're going to get a weapon. They're going to come back to receiver a little bit later. You okay over there? You good?
Yeah, I need my phone up because I can't have another screen showing me the consensus draft board. Otherwise it'll throw things up.
These are tough shows for you.
And rather unfortunately, the mock draft sim runs quite far to the edge on either side in terms of useful information that I require. So it's difficult to rest my phone and have things. Really, I need an iPad that will interrupt with annoying noises every 3 seconds. No. We're going Jeremiah Love. That's what we said?
Going Jeremiah Love.
Drafting. Done.
And you have to run the mock draft sim because I have ad reads to do.
Right.
I can't put my copy up on the screen for everybody.
There's got to be something I could rest it on. Give me my bobblehead thing.
Pop guy.
Yeah, there we go. This is
got
what
my
we're doing.
coffee too. Who sent the illy? By the way,
I don't know. That was the one I saw. I told you yesterday that just arrived at my house in 2 containers, and I was wondering if I was being sent abusive, doxing.
And I said maybe it's coffee.
And it was, yeah.
Great.
Okay.
For the losing bets.
The Kansas City Chiefs, of all teams, are now on the clock with a top 10 draft pick, despite having Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, etc. The rare appearance in the top 10. And not because they did some fancy-ass trade, just because they were that bad this year.
Yeah, they did. Don't get this opportunity often.
They don't. And this is what makes it interesting, I think. Typically the Kansas City Chiefs will be expecting to pick 31, 30, 32 in the draft, and that's where you're down. You're past all the blue chip players. You're into this world of, developmental offensive tackles or developmental pass rushers. It's usually a spot where you're kind of gambling on, upside and hoping a guy is good. But they have a rare opportunity, albeit in a draft that isn't particularly strong with blue chip players, of a Caleb Downs is on the board. A guy that you do generally think is a blue chip player that can do everything, albeit at safety. But, they're in the world of that. Or do you say we've needed an actual X wide receiver since we traded our guy away? we made it work for a while just as a novelty, but actually we're crying out for a Jordan Tyson.
Yeah, so it's like I think the Chiefs still have a solid roster, but they do have, I've said this on the last show, like several positions that would be really nice fits.
Yeah.
Downs fits anybody. It's just
Right.
a matter of risk appetite. Could the Chiefs use a receiver? Definitely. Could they use some future proofing for Chris Jones? Absolutely. Caleb Banks, Peter Woods could be in the mix there. Would they want to move on from Juwan Taylor at right tackle? So could they use a tackle there? Absolutely. So they're in an interesting spot where I think there's a lot of fits there for the Chiefs, even though I think they still have a pretty good nucleus on both sides of the ball.
They do, yeah. I think if Caleb Downs wasn't on the board, I think you could construct an argument for several different positions, and it would be pretty interesting. To me, it's almost like a referendum on Caleb Downs within that building. It's like, do you really value the fact that he is the blue chip player that you don't get a shot at most years because you're picking 20 picks later? Or do you just say it's a safety, it's not worth taking at 9 overall with this rare opportunity?
We don't get a shot at top 10 big guys either. We don't get top 10 tackles, even though Josh Simmons fell.
But the question,
we don't get top 10 defensive tackles.
But the question you have to ask yourself, this is why it is an important exercise for everybody to sort of track relative strength of the draft. Like, not just a player, like you're not just grading within a draft class, you're also grading compared to last year, compared to next year, compared to the year before, et cetera, et cetera. So, Peter Woods, Caleb Banks, these guys, you're like, you don't get a chance to draft the top defensive tackle off the board. But you're like, yeah, but if you go back 2 years, that guy might have been the 5th defensive tackle off the board, and therefore he isn't worth the 9 overall pick, right? You know what I mean?
Somebody has to be, though.
No, I know, but the point is, it's not the bargain anymore, right? So if you took this draft in isolation, you'd be like, when are we going to get a chance to draft the top defensive tackle off the board again? And it may never be, or it may be next year. But, you might think of that as a rare opportunity. But if you actually stack them up relative to last year or the year before, and you say in most drafts this guy would be the 25th pick in the draft, well, then it's no longer, we got to get this guy at 9 because this is a rare opportunity. It's not. It's exactly what it should be. Like, it's the standard value that you're getting there. That's where you end up moving to a guy like Caleb Downs, where you're saying this guy is a rare opportunity at 9 over. Forget 9 overall. This guy is a rare opportunity for us to get. There's no circumstance under which we would normally be able to acquire a Caleb Downs. In most drafts, we might actually be able to get a Peter Woods or a Caleb Banks.
The one other interesting thing, good discussion there about Downs.
Thought exercise, even. The Bills may have solved the Chiefs' defense with their tight ends and slot receivers and everything. Like, Caleb Downs helps. They were struggling covering tight ends. Caleb Downs absolutely helps with that. And it's an intriguing one. I think a lot of these teams are going to have some serious Caleb Downs discussions, including the Bengals at 10. Who, if you don't take him right now, I'm going to start having that discussion with people as well. Right. Not to make your pick for you, but I think the first spot where Caleb Downs definitely goes is 10. I don't think he makes it beyond 10.
I'm working the phones. I might jump ahead.
Trade.
But I'm not.
Okay.
It's too late because you're on the clock. You got the Chiefs.
I've seen some hype recently for Denzel Boston, the Washington wide receiver, as like wide receiver 1. I was just wondering how far down the consensus board he is. He's still 23 on the consensus board.
I have in my notes, specifically, I think he'd be an intriguing Chiefs receiver.
Right.
He brings some size that a Jordan Tyson doesn't have. Tate's got good size, but Tyson and Lemon don't. The size, and I think just he's got some natural adjust to the play type of feel that I just thought would be a nice fit for Mahomes.
Yeah.
Now, I also wrote that note in anticipating when I did this in the fall, like, well, they'll be picking in the 20s, and maybe that matches well. Yeah. But I did write that down. And again, I got to go back. I need a second watch on a bunch of these players.
Sure.
But that was my initial impression. I was like, yeah, I don't know. Again, I don't know if I love him as a top 10 player, but I did kind of like the fit with the Chiefs, and that would be some size and ball skills, very good tracking and ball skills that they could use to complement the speed of Xavier Worthy.
Sonny Styles would also be pretty interesting as well because, almost the antithesis of Nick Bolton. You know what I mean? In terms of this, like...
And Leo Chanel hitting free agency here.
Yeah, and Leo Chanel is... he's on the Nick Bolton spectrum in terms of these big, chunky, powerful linebacker who might not be at his best in coverage. He's almost like they drafted Willie Gay and he was good for a minute and then didn't do anything and they got rid of him. But like they kind of need that player like that. You either need a Caleb Downs, a guy that can just move anywhere in your secondary and match up with these slot guys, or you need an actual coverage athletic linebacker that can make plays, as opposed to Nick Bolton, who's a walking target most of the time when he's in coverage. So that would be intriguing as well. I think it probably, though, comes down. I don't think they're – I've sort of talked myself into the fact that the defensive linemen aren't actually value at this point because of a weak draft class. So I honestly think it comes down to Caleb Downs versus a wide receiver.
What about right tackle?
Yeah. But
it's the only other one to –
So like a Spencer Fano?
Yeah.
It's definitely possible. I mean, you do get the impression that they would quite like to move on from Juwan Taylor at this point. If they, I guess they could do that if Josh Simmons stays healthy, flipping.
They have another year. First off, they have another year of Juwan Taylor. Certainly could cut him.
Right.
They have another year though of Jalen Moore.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
That's what you're saying. So Jalen Moore could be the guy in transition for a year. Josh Simmons at left tackle. Wanye Morris as the swing tackle.
So they could do that, or just draft a replacement.
Or draft. So so again, I don't think the Chiefs roster is like in shambles, as some Chiefs fans might think. I think they've done a good job drafting up until the last year or two, which are still like TBD. I don't think it's in shambles.
No,
but they definitely have some
needs,
acute and long-term needs to consider. The long-term I would say is the Chris Jones and right tackle. Maybe that ends up short-term with cap casualties. And then in the acute, it's like, okay, you definitely need a receiver. General speed and playmakers definitely could use a playmaking safety. So there's some questions here.
I'm going to go with Jordan Tyson, the wide receiver from Arizona State.
After all that discussion?
Yes.
I'm going Jordan Tyson.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going receiver. Here we go. All right. Don't get the big boys later. So that puts Caleb Downs still on the clock for Cincinnati, which is very tempting. Another team, I still think they would rather go back to pass rusher. We've given them Peter Woods in the past here. We had Caleb Banks go in the top 10 last draft to the Saints.
Thought exercise.
Yeah, which could happen. Top 10 player. I liked one of the comments. Somebody's like, you just took a Florida corner I've never heard of. I was like, well, you've never heard of him. He happens to play defensive tackle. Maybe you're not the right audience.
Good Senior Bowl.
We'll see. Yes, he did. A lot of high-end plays at the Senior Bowl. So I think it's between O-line, D-line, D-line, or you just take Downs when he's here.
Yeah.
And the Bengals will have healthy debates about Texas A&M edge Cassius Howell, Auburn edge Keldrick Falk, Caleb Banks, who I just mentioned, Peter Woods, who I mentioned. I think you just go Caleb Downs here, though. The safety position has been so bad for the Bengals. And I think they're going to look at this and say, since we got rid of Jesse Bates, that whole position has been awful. Downs is good enough in a free safety role. I think he's better in and around the line of scrimmage. But for a team that was just so bad at tackling for 2 straight years, he's just a good, dependable, got to have him on your team type of player at 10.
They did. I mean, it's not just one move. Obviously, they did a bunch of things that were bad or haven't worked out well. But Geno Stone felt like one of the more obvious, this is a silly move that's been made in the last few years. Like he was coming off a career year in Baltimore that had no real resemblance to the rest of his career at all. And teams used to do that all the time. Like a guy coming off a career year that came out of nowhere and he gets big free agent money and it doesn't tend to work out. I think teams have gotten a lot better at that, at not doing that. And the Bengals did it with Geno Stone, and he's been a total disaster for them in that defense.
And to be clear on Dax Hill, he's some of the chat asking. He's moved to corner,
right,
and played decently well there.
I think their corners are actually fine.
Yeah, Dax Hill and DJ Turner at corner. Could they still use another body in there? They've got some, Josh Newton. They've got some youth there, but like they're okay. I think for that as a starting 2. The biggest weakness on the team is linebacker, but
the entire spine. It's like everything right up the
middle.
It
is. But linebacker, Demetrius Knight, Barrett Carter, they were both rookies. Is it because they were rookies or were they just overdrafted? they need help on the defensive side of the ball, and it's gonna feel a little dirty adding the safety before you feel great about the defensive line. It's gonna feel a little dirty. Like Trey Hendrickson's walking out the door. Shamar Stewart's still a project. You haven't had a good interior pass rusher since Geno Atkins. Somebody was in between there, right?
Geno Atkins.
It's been a while.
What a beast he was.
So, but I'm going Caleb Downs here.
I mean, I honestly think this is a no-brainer if it gets this far. I think they run this card in. Sure, it's not going to feel great drafting a safety at 10 overall when everything else is bad as well, but he's the cleanest prospect in this draft. Like, it's a slam dunk.
Here's the ideal for Cincinnati, too. If they could do something in free agency or something with current
to make
NFL
you feel better
players.
about some other positions.
If they could do something on the defensive line ahead of the draft, and that puts you in position where it doesn't feel as dirty.
Yeah.
Going after taking a Caleb Downs at pick 10. But that's why we're doing mocks right now. There's still a little TBD. Like if they get in there and they have no help on the D line, then it's maybe it's Cassius Howell, maybe it's Keldrick Falk, maybe you just need to add some bodies there in the first round.
Let's actually do a reset this time. We keep forgetting about that. We'll do it now.
I'm going to let you do it after I tell everybody about FanDuel.
After, okay.
Yeah, how's that good?
That's fine.
Because you know how fast NFL game days move. One big play and everything changes. That's why live betting on FanDuel is a game changer. With FanDuel, you can bet in real time while the game unfolds. Score just flipped. You could jump on a new spread or a live money line. That wide receiver's heating up, or you could bet the next touchdown score or total yards. You think that drive's going to stall in the red zone, you could take a live field goal prop or fade the total. Live player props, team totals, drive results, updated spreads, next play markets. It's all there. It's fast, it's fun, and with FanDuel, your live bets move as quickly as the game does. So whether you're riding momentum or fading the hype, FanDuel puts you right in the middle of every moment. Visit FanDuel.com/33rd to download the app and bet the NFL's live all season long. Must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut, or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts. Or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. Paid endorsement.
That's a lot of terms and conditions.
And shout out to FanDuel. Went to their
party
shindig the other night.
Shindig.
Yes. Saw Counting Crows.
Hootenanny.
On a short set. Had to leave early, though, because we had the 6 a.m. flight. 4 a.m. wake-up call.
Again.
School night. Couldn't stay out too late, but I caught Counting Crows, missed Green Day. Good times.
Good times.
Thanks,
Good times
FanDuel.
had by all. The reset. Pick number one overall, the Las Vegas, not Oakland, Raiders select Fernando Mendoza, quarterback out of Indiana. Pick number 2, the New York Jets select Reuben Bain Jr., edge rusher from Miami. Pick number 3, the Arizona Cardinals select David Bailey, edge rusher from Texas Tech. Pick number 4, Tennessee Titans select linebacker / edge rusher hybrid Arvell Reese from Ohio State. Pick number 5, the New York Giants select tackle Francis Mauigoa from Miami. Pick number 6, the Cleveland Browns select wide receiver Carnell Tate from Ohio State. Pick number 7, the Washington Commanders select cornerback Jamal McCoy from Tennessee. Pick number 8, the New Orleans Saints select running back Jeremiah Love out of Notre Dame. Pick number 9, the Kansas City Chiefs select wide receiver Jordan Tyson from Arizona State. And then pick number 10, the hometown Cincinnati Bengals select safety Caleb Downs from Ohio State. Putting
Good reset.
the Miami Dolphins on the clock at pick number 11.
You're up, man. What do you got here for Miami?
We got some needs. Is this the earliest that teams start at least talking about Ty Simpson at quarterback? Possible, just because they're desperate.
We started that conversation here last time we did this. I think that's a fair
I think it's too early, and I don't think it happens, but I think this is probably the earliest you're even having the conversation for anybody, just because, obviously the Tua thing hasn't worked. They need something, right? I would assume they find an answer somewhere before we get to here. But like I said, if they end up here with the current depth chart, they're at least talking about it, even if the answer is no.
When you have it's a new regime, head coach and GM. And this happened, I remember when Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch took over the Niners, I said, look, they're tied at the hip for the next 6 years. You don't have to rush the QB decision. Yeah. And they waited till, I think, year 2 and traded for Jimmy Garoppolo. So they had some time. I wonder if Miami takes that time and says, we don't have to rush it. We don't have to force a Ty Simpson if we don't love it. But we also don't have to, take Derek Carr out of retirement or whatever. They feel like a landing spot for Carr, potentially. And if you say, hey, we just want to compete right now with the Patriots and with the Bills, and we just want to compete right now, then Derek Carr is the move. But if you want to slow play it, start building that. They need help. Both sides of the ball, both lines of scrimmage. And I think they could play it patiently here.
It's so interesting, though. Like, if you want to do that, right? If you understand that this is not going to have success year one, it's going to be a 2 or 3 year project, et cetera. But I think it must be an ownership-driven thing where teams simply refuse to go into a season with, like, Quinn Ewers as their starting quarterback. You know what I mean? It's like, you can't do that. That's too bad. I'm not going to sell any tickets. Like, I assume that's the driving force behind that. But, like, last year, the Browns, there's really no purpose for the Browns to have played Joe Flacco a minute of football last year. It achieved nothing. It was a waste of everybody's time. All it did is delay seeing Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, right? If they were doing that correctly, knowing that last season was going to be a write-off, which clearly we all did, they should have started one of the rookies and then turned to the other rookie, and all we should have seen is rookie quarterbacks. But they didn't. They're like, nah, we'll lose the building, right? Myles Garrett will revolt before the season even begins if I try and start one of these rookies day one. Or the owner was like, nobody in Cleveland will buy a ticket if I don't have a recognizable name at quarterback, right? So I don't know which one of those things or both is driving that thing, but it's like the conversation, if we're doing this long term, almost becomes who is the worst quarterback I can get away with starting early? And the answer to that is probably not Tua. It's probably not on the roster. So you need to go, like, who is the crappiest bridge quarterback I can bring in?
They also could be the team for Malik Willis in free agency.
Sure.
With the Green Bay ties.
Yeah.
That's the other
true.
piece here. There's 2 different places, right? Arizona.
Right.
If they want to just move on from Kyler Murray.
Arizona because of the
Mike LaFleur.
The LaFleur connection, brother.
The Green Bay connection with Halfley. Yeah, so they could go that route. All that said, and we may have come to this conclusion last week as well. Like, let's not go. I wouldn't go QB here. It's your choice.
No, I don't think
they will.
Like I said, I think this is the earliest the conversation is being had, but I don't think they're doing it. I think they have needs a lot of places, but I think their most acute need remains at cornerback, where they had the worst corner room in the NFL heading into the season, and then got people hurt, and it was a total joke by various points of the season. So, Mansour Delane, cornerback from LSU, is where I'm going.
I like it. Yeah, massive cornerback need for Miami.
You don't want to be rolling into the season with Storm Duck as your number one again.
You want him on the roster, though.
Storm?
Yeah. You want
Mr.
Storm.
Duck?
You just want Storm Duck. Cowboys are up at pick 12. It's good to see the bus out in San Francisco.
Jerry.
It's good.
That thing must put up some mileage. I mean, if you're driving that thing to Indianapolis to San Francisco.
Do you have multiple drivers for that? This is like
the Madden Cruiser. I mean, he used to just he used to just have one guy, right?
Yeah, like Kalen. Somebody's got to do it. Did somebody done a story on
Jerry's Cruiser?
On the Cruiser?
I don't think Jerry would let. I think there's some. I'm not sure Jerry
from
wants
outside
all
the
access,
bus.
On the bus.
Anyway, Cowboys are up on the clock at 12. There is the rumblings around league circles that they will franchise tag George Pickens.
12 put.
Rumblings around league circles. I don't have sources in league circles, but I can read and hear the rumblings.
Other people reporting
from other people's league sources. I can read social media. I'm a big boy. I can read it. The rumblings, George Pickens will be back, which would be a nice little nucleus for the Cowboys. Just add Mekhi Lemon to the mix. Really crush it.
So I think that's one of those things where they'll franchise him with a view to trying to get a long-term deal as opposed to just franchising him and keeping him for an extra year.
I mean, for fear of pissing him off.
So that was my question.
It would be an intriguing,
is franchising George Pickens the kind of thing that will go down well with George Pickens?
Well, the one other time he's been in a contract year, balled out.
Right.
That was this past year.
But that was like, hey, we're going to bring you in and, give you an opportunity to win your contract. If you then didn't get the contract and they're like, nah, you're getting franchised, joke.
I don't know. I would have some reservations.
It doesn't matter if you get the long-term deal done, but, it is an interesting dynamic with a guy like Pickens.
Yeah, it is. So I'm going to assume they at least have him back, whether it's for the short or the long term. So I'm not going to look receiver there. they would have been connected to Jeremiah Love if he was available here, but I already took him off the board.
Right. Saved him from yourself.
I did. It's interesting because I think some of the defensive tackle talent would have made sense here had they not traded for Kenny Clark and Quinn Williams
multiple defensive tackles
and had them locked up. I do wonder if they go back to the edge here and, Cassius Howell type, a Keldrick Falk type. I think Falk is definitely interesting for Dallas as a power edge with some pass rush upside that we haven't seen from him yet. You add him to Donovan Ezeraku, and you've got they have a nice young defensive line that could come together here.
Mm-hmm.
And then we know linebacker's been an issue. That's where Sonny Styles going to have his name bandied about for Cowboys fans. So, where do I want to go here? Corners also in the mix, but have you drafted all the corners?
Yep, 2 of them.
3.
3?
Is it 3? I know
think
you
I
got
might take
McCoy
2, right?
and Delane. Okay.
Right.
Avion Terrell. Man. Then you might take the next corner with the Rams, too, at 13.
Who can tell?
You might take all the corners. Oh, man, I got to go back to Keldrick Falk's tape a little bit and see where I think we could project him as a pass rusher. But I think you're getting a very good run defender. And if you had him with some multi-gap ability with Ezeraku, with Quinnen Williams, Osa Odighizuwa, Kenny Clark, I think you're getting there. I think you're getting there on the D-line.
I wouldn't rule out, by the way, defensive tackle because Kenny Clark is A, not the youngest guy in the world, and B, that contract is not the best thing in the world. You could get to his replacement pretty quickly.
No, I get it.
Also, defensive line rotation being what it is, blah, blah, blah. But, just because Kenny Clark is there, wouldn't necessarily mean that they're set for years.
No, I get it. The Cowboys are just they either do a great job where they don't have acute needs or they fill their needs.
Right.
They fill their needs. And their needs still going to be on the edge in linebacker. So I think we're talking Sonny Styles, Keldrick Falk, Cassius Howell. We're talking about those types of players here. Oh, where am I going to go? Or running back. Let's go linebacker. It's a good linebacker draft.
Sonny Styles.
No. Don't click it yet.
The Formula One character.
Keldrick Falk. We're going Keldrick Falk from Auburn here.
Sonny Styles, apparently, I saw somewhere yesterday.
15 on the consensus board, by the way.
Now, this is a data point that I think is conflicting, but somewhere had it that Sonny Styles did not miss a single tackle last year. Now, other people would dispute that, depending on your data source. But
I assume the data source of the most common one, PFF, did not have that. What's it?
Correct. They had him at 2.3% or something there, 2.2 missed tackle rate. But either way, that's not many missed tackles.
I mean, that's him. That's Caleb Downs. Just really good, dependable football players.
Missed tackle. 2 missed tackles there, according to them. But some other place, whose source I didn't actually see, has 0.
Really? What place?
I don't remember.
Somebody has 0?
Right.
Just like Larry Fitzgerald has more tackles than
Yeah. There's a stat out there.
Dropped.
It's unverified and unverifiable that he had 0 missed tackles last year.
The chat says he didn't miss a tackle till the national title game, so maybe that came out before.
Could have been it.
Before then.
Could have been it.
Or someone else says until Miami, so maybe it was true. Keldrick Falk. Give me Keldrick Falk. Auburn edge rusher. He's got good size, good run defender, hasn't rushed the passer at a high clip.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily his role. Doesn't mean he can't do it. I think he adds a good, dependable player to the D-line. So we're going back to the D-line here for the Cowboys.
Nice.
Adding more bodies there to, in the aggregate, replace Micah Parsons and Super Bowl champion DeMarcus Lawrence, by the way. 2 guys that they've had to replace since last year at this time.
And 3 tragically with Marshawn Nealand as well.
True, very true.
Yeah, I think that's I think that's the right need. It's the most acute need that they have, and as you said, Dallas tends to target their most acute need in the first round. Puts the Rams on the clock at pick number 13, despite being the second best team in football this year.
The James Pierce pick.
Yeah. That's not looking great for Atlanta today. It was looking all right a couple of days ago. Today, less so.
Yeah.
Again, kind of rare opportunity for the Rams a little bit similar to Kansas City, would they normally be picking up here? This would be a great year for this to be a good quarterback draft class, right? Like if you're Matthew Stafford aging, even though he said he's coming back, like this would be an awesome opportunity to draft his future replacement if this was a strong quarterback draft. Unfortunately, it's not, so I don't really think they're in that market. Again, like I think the conversations are being had with Ty Simpson, but I doubt the Rams would want to spend 13 overall on him to have him sit behind Stafford for a year or two and learn and maybe take over. It feels unlikely to me. I think they're going to see it a little bit like Kansas City and be like, this is an unusual opportunity. What's the best way of taking advantage of that? Unfortunately, a lot of those ways would be defensive linemen, and their defensive line is stacked to the point, I mean, you can never have too many, but maybe this is the point where I would say it's too many.
The Rams, by the way, the last 2 drafts were reportedly trying to trade up into the top 10 2 years ago to get Brock Bowers.
Yep.
Last year, they were trying to trade up to number 8 to get Tedero McMillan. I wonder, with the extra first rounder, if this is a year they would say, we're going to get up to 3, we're going to get up to 4, and try to get whoever. Now, I don't know who that player would be necessarily, but both of the last 2 years, it was for an offensive playmaker.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know if there's a player like that in this draft, but if they fall, just keep an eye on it. If they fall in love with someone, they'll be working the phones.
But it does mean that I think you have to be pretty interested in Mekhi Lemon, the USC wide receiver, and Denzel Boston, who we talked about before, the Washington wide receiver, as potential options. Obviously Puka Nacua is one of the best wide receivers in all of football, phenomenal player. Devontae Adams was like the red zone weapon, but is getting on and isn't the player that he used to be, and obviously not a long-term solution. I definitely think there's a place for either of those guys within this offense, even if they're pivoting towards more tight end heavy formations, et cetera, et cetera. I think they would definitely be intrigued by that. The other one I think is the offensive line, where Rob Havenstein is getting on, was banged up. Spencer Fano out of Utah would be pretty intriguing there as well. That's probably what it comes down to for me, is receiver versus Fano.
Not corner, huh?
I don't know that I would take a corner with the top 2 off the board.
Because you took the other 2.
Yeah. Like I've screwed myself. With the top 2 off the board, I'm not loving the corner depth, quality at this point.
Mekhi Lemon, like Puka Nacua and Mekhi Lemon would just be a bear for opposing defenses.
Right.
And because there's some similarities,
it sort of feels like back when they had Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp at the beginning of his career. It's like, man, this is crazy.
Right? Like they feel a little bit redundant, but that's also part of, what makes it difficult.
Right. Avian Terrell is 19 on the consensus board, 19 also on PFF's board as well, I think. So, I mean, it's in the ballpark, but I don't love it.
Where are you going to go, man?
I'm going to go Mekhi Lemon.
Ooh.
I think that's spicy.
Chat loves it. Chat's dropping those lemon emojis. They're loving that one.
Lemons.
Look at that. Really nice.
Baltimore Ravens, pick number 14.
So let me get Lemon here. So Ravens at 14. Oh, man, where are we going to go? I'm really intrigued by Cassius Howell here. I know we took Mike Green last year. Underwhelmed a little bit in year 1. I think he got better down the stretch, but their pass rush was so bad last year, the Ravens. I think that's definitely
underwhelmed quite a lot, I would say.
Yes.
Given his tape was like top 10 caliber tape, and he slipped in the draft for reasons that were not on the field. It was, accusations against him.
He played a lot of snaps, and I do wonder if that's part of the issue, is they put him out there when he wasn't fully ready. Like if he was just in a designated pass rush role, maybe he has a little bit more success. But they have to get after the quarterback. I do wonder if, T.J. Parker's dropped a little bit on the consensus board since the beginning of the season, but had the really nice Senior Bowl. I wonder if this is where T.J. Parker from Clemson starts to be in the mix for teams like the Ravens. Ravens and Bucs are back-to-back here. Jets, Lions. Jets already took a pass rusher, but a lot of these teams can use edge rushers. So we're going to have these discussions, I think, in the mid-teens for a bunch of teams. The Cassius Howells. Maybe, similar defensive tackles, but as far as pass rush goes, Parker, Howell. If you told me before the season Howell would be above Parker, I wouldn't have expected it. but I also wouldn't have ruled it out. I like Cassius Howell quite a bit. He's the guy. And again, Greg confirmed this with me.
Oh, really?
When we were
you saw
watching,
that too?
When we were watching Texas A&M last year, Shamar Stewart, Shamar Turner, Nick Scorton.
Right.
And you're like, who's 18? Who's number 18? He switched his number this year, by the way. But last year it was 18. And Cassius Howell looked like the best pass rusher.
Yeah.
With 3 players going in the first 2 rounds on that defensive line.
3 legit players. Yeah.
The other play that I'll reference all draft season.
That's going to skew me all draft, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to be able to get that out of my head as a thing boosting his draft stock.
And he had a very good season this year, too. It wasn't, anything different. Chat's pushing for Sonny Styles here. I think I've got some linebacker bias here. Like when Quay Walker went in the first round, and it's like, it's just linebacker that just doesn't miss tackles like Sonny Styles. Like the best thing Quay Walker did.
Quay Walker was never the good though.
But he was fine. Like he just didn't miss tackles.
He was like
in the right place at the right time.
He was like the 10th or like the 9th or 10th best player on that defense.
I understand. Styles is okay. I don't get the feels with Sonny Styles yet either. That's part of it.
It's because you're not captivated by the fact that he's got a movie star name. Like that's a TV character name with some sort of TV sportsman name.
Part of it's because I'm saving Styles for the Bucks. So we could set a record here, Sam. I think we're going to have 10 to 12 mock drafts, but we could have Sonny Styles go to the Bucks in every single mock.
Mm-hmm.
When did I do that?
And then be wrong.
I think I had 1 year. I think when Jack Conklin came out, I gave him to the Bills at 8 every single time. I gave him the Bills like every single time, whatever it was.
And it never happens that way.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
I'm going Cassius Howell here.
Cassius
Juice.
Howell.
Juice off the edge. # juice.
19.9% pass rush win rate.
Yeah, he's good. I'm telling you, like we call this a weak draft, but I kind of like 8 to 20.
Yeah, it's not that it's
some players here.
It's the lack of star power rather than the draft itself outright stinks.
Other times you get to this point in the draft though, and it's like I actually don't. I wish I was at 26.
Sure.
I do feel like this 8 to 20 sweet spot. You can get some good players.
Now the Bucks are on the clock. You've left it to me to draft Levante David's ultimate replacement.
Sonny the Bucks.
It does make a lot of sense. Now look, they also have some other needs. I think you could definitely add a defensive lineman to this group. Always with Tampa Bay for some reason. Yeah, there always seems to be a defensive line that could use some juice. Probably not the offensive line. I think actually, as much as that was a problem unit this year, it was all injuries. I think they're actually okay there once everybody's healthy. Corner, conversation. Wide receiver, they're set, you would think. Even though, actually, Mike Evans getting on, Chris Godwin's always injured. I mean, actually, their wide receiver room, we saw that this year, is probably not as strong as it looks on paper.
It could flip quickly.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it did flip quickly. I mean, they went from what are you even drafting Emeka Egbuka for? That's ridiculous waste of a draft pick to he was their number 1 wide receiver for half the year.
If you had Jalen McMillan, Emeka Egbuka, and Tez Johnson, you'd all first and second and third year players next year.
Yeah, I mean, you'd still be fine. But the point is, it immediately transforms from this is an embarrassment of riches to actually we're pretty thin here.
Oh, yeah, move quickly.
With just a couple injuries and injuries to guys that are oft injured at this point as well. Nonetheless, I'm not going wide receiver there. I mean, yeah, look, the Sonny Styles thing makes too much sense to pass up, I think. So I'm going to stick with your prescribed plan.
All right, I'm intrigued. I get the Jets here. Jets took Reuben Bain. I don't know if this is sprint to the podium for me, but Peter Woods is still on the clock or still on the board. Let's have the Ty Simpson discussion. I'm gonna pause on QB if I'm the Jets. If the Jets can elicit some patience this year, if they can, and you never say, next year's class, but let's just say, in a year where there's a lot of questions for the number 2 quarterback, usually the next year's better. Now, last year, I know Cam Ward went 1, Jackson Dart was the 2, Shuck went 3.
I mean, it is
Shador
one of those
went in
things.
The 5th, and it felt like, next year will be better, and here we are.
It is one of those things where
sometimes somebody's got to come out at some point.
If you rewind a year, right, the conversation around next year's draft class. Like, look at the players that are going to be coming out next year, and like all of them stank this year. So it's like it doesn't always work that way. You know, what you think looks like a great draft class, those guys, if they all play like crap in college next year, it's suddenly not a good draft class.
Now, what happened in 22, Kenny Pickett's the only first rounder. The next year, you had Bryce Young, you had C.J. Stroud, Anthony Richardson, and then Will Levis went high 2. So there were more options. Mm-hmm. And then in 24, there were 6 first rounders.
Yes.
In the top 12. So eventually, quarterbacks have to come out.
Well, they don't just have to come out, but they have to come out off the back of something good. Otherwise, it doesn't matter.
It did feel like going into this year in college, it was a whole bunch of, well, if Lenora Sellers and if Garrett Nussmeier and if Archman. It was a lot of if.
Well, it was if
some
and
stuff happens.
Yeah, if and when. It was like these guys are all going to come, they're all going to get a year better, and then the draft's going to look amazing, and none of them did.
And we still have elements of that for next year's draft class. There's no slam dunks in any of them. But I'm going to pause on QB for now for the Jets. I'm not going to force a Ty Simpson pick. I'll let you take him at 21 for the Steelers, maybe. Who knows? But I am really intrigued by the Jets, who could use another receiver. But if they get Reuben Bain and Peter Woods at 2 and 16, 2 impact defensive linemen as part of the rebuild here, I think that'd be awesome. I think that's great for the Jets. I'm going Peter Woods from Clemson. Sad about Clemson's year because of how underachieving it was from a talent perspective. But I think Woods is a really good player at 16.
Bumping
interior disruptor to go with Reuben Bain at 2.
Bumping Will McDonald down to situational pass rusher.
Well, he's a defensive tackle. Bain's on the outside. Bain's moving.
Who's a defensive tackle?
Peter Woods.
I said, sorry. Yeah. Sorry, out there.
It's not Parker. It's not Parker on the
TJ
edge.
Parker was who was in my head.
But I thought about that, too, if you went 2 edges and had McDonald as a situational guy. Not the worst thing in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb Banks, if you really want to swing for the fences, could have been available. Available there. Could have been the guy, but I'm going Peter Woods. Puts you on the clock with the Lions.
Yeah, Lions offensive line, I think, needs some serious reinforcements at this point. Whether or not Taylor Decker retires this year, they're going to need to replace him pretty soon. They already lost the great 6'9" Dan Skipper, so
right into coaching.
Yeah. The interior of the offensive line has had some turnover as well.
That means we might run into Dan at the combine.
Skipper?
Yeah. Because he used to list at 6'10", then he demoted to 6'9".
6'9".
I would never do that. I'm still 6'10" on the internet. But we should get a picture. Me and Dan.
You and Dan. Well, we find out how tall he
Dan,
actually
I used to be 6'10", too.
Yeah. It'll tell us nothing because, like, you both listed at 6'10". If you're the same height as him, I don't know what that means.
It's going to be a posture issue. I'm like slumped and just not in good shape.
Slowly shrinking as the years go on.
Just fat, back's killing.
Posture. I think offensive line is where they've got to go. So you're basically Spencer Fano of Utah. Do they take Ioane from Penn State, even though that wouldn't be how you say it in New Zealand? As an interior guy, I think probably Spencer Fano makes the most sense. So, done.
Spencer Fano. So your left tackle of the future, played right tackle at Utah. His teammate Caleb Lomu is probably going to be a late first-round pick, or at least projected as such. Both guys, they're pretty good. That's a good pick for the Lions. You taking Fano for sure?
It's already done. It's clicked. It's in.
Just making sure I'm picking it so I see what's available here. I got the Vikings up on the clock.
The coach-driven Vikings war room now.
Who does Brian Flores want? Avion Terrell?
It's Brian Flores and Kevin O'Connell in a knockout, drag-down fight within the war room to select their player.
Who do we want?
Rob Brzezinski sitting on the sideline just like, hoping nobody asks him questions.
I'll just slot it into the cap. I'll let you know how the cap changes, which it doesn't.
Or Grigson. Grigson, he's big John McCarthy, refereeing the MMA fight between the two coaches.
Grigson's going to have his own board, and then the coaches are going to go rogue, get who they want.
Grigson's, if it comes down to just intimidation factor, though, Grigson's got some heft to him,
That's why I would win battles.
Because your size. But you don't use it. You come across as
use it there.
Teddy bear.
I know, it's not good.
It's not going to, you don't back it up,
It didn't even back you
Grigson
up.
looks, right. Grigson looks like somebody that could, just stare down a recalcitrant coach.
I could throw down if I need to. In the war room. I think Vikings going to go corner here. I think we had a little corner run. I would say if there's one place where our mock drafts leading up to the draft are off historically, is we probably put corners a little bit higher than they go. Doesn't mean we were wrong, because we had guys like Quinyon Mitchell going like at 10 or 11 the year he came out. He falls to like 22 or whatever it was. Doesn't mean we were wrong. It's just we tend to have corners go a little bit higher. So my point is, I think the Vikings might have a couple decent cornerback options here. As of right now, it's Avion Terrell next at 19 on the consensus board among corners, which I'll still go with here. They have, I mean, they're pretty good up front on the defensive line. They've done all that work on the offensive line. Maybe you want a future-proof receiver with Jordan Addison in decision, and there's intriguing options there, but I think at corner, where it's Isaiah Rodgers, Byron Murphy, could use a starter.
And Murphy in particular is better in the slot.
He's a slot.
If they can move him back inside, that would be great.
Right. So I'm going Avion Terrell from Clemson, and once again, you're just going to see Clemson defensive players coming off the board after a disappointing season.
Yeah, the loaded Clemson team that did nothing.
So I'm taking Terrell from Clemson. You've got Dr. Eager's pick here.
The doctor. Where does he want to go?
Screw it up.
Yeah, 19, Carolina Panthers, helmed by the great Dr. Eric Eager.
Really quick, the one good thing about the way the draft has shaped up for alternating, the teams that have 2 picks are all even.
They alternate? Oh, you get
They're
to
all
pick?
even. So I've got the Browns both times. I have Dallas both times, and I had the Jets both times.
Right.
So whoever has the even picks gets
their
to make
team
the
again.
2 picks. It's good. I appreciate the NFL doing that for us.
I'm sure that's why they did it.
That's why.
All right, Carolina on the clock. It's an interesting. So their needs listed by PFF include wide receiver, which actually ended up looking okay once.
I think PFF's needs are
Right.
dated sometimes.
Once Jalen Coker rocked back up to the team, I think they actually ended up in pretty good shape there. Jalen Coker, obviously Tedero McMillan winning Rookie of the Year fairly handily. I mean, Xavier Legette has been a disappointment, but still occasionally makes a couple of plays and at least belongs on the roster. I think he could end up losing some time to guys like Jimmy Horn Jr. potentially, but they could use an extra wide receiver. I just don't know that you're going to take one in the first round. Their defensive line was much improved last year, but is still a little bit absent of like impact playmakers. So again, that would be like that. This would be an interesting spot.
Let me throw a curveball in there really quick.
Yeah.
I'm always intrigued by the idea that everybody sees the game differently. So this could be any team, not just Carolina. Some team or people within a team are gonna like Ty Simpson.
Yeah.
Enough. Like, what if Carolina, just what if for anybody, but what if Carolina loved Ty Simpson and brought him in as the hedge to Bryce Young here?
Yeah. I mean,
now, that
again,
takes Dave Canales,
right,
rest of the staff, truly loving him. You pick up the 5th year for Young, and Simpson becomes your hedge. Are you comfortable enough with the rest of the roster to do that? Probably not.
Right. I also just
I'm
don't.
Just throwing
I
that
don't
out there, given their Bryce Young.
I don't think you can be
situation.
at all sure that would be an upgrade either. So I doubt it's something they're particularly interested in. T.J. Parker would be interesting because they swung at the defensive line last year. They definitely improved there, but I don't know that they improved enough. Would you add a first-round guy to that mix and hope that makes the kind of impact? I think you could make a similar argument for Caleb Banks, a defensive tackle. Obviously, Derek Brown is a beast, but he's not necessarily a pass-rushing force. Caleb Banks has some instant wins at that size, which would be pretty intriguing. I think those 2 guys would be pretty fascinating. The most natural fit in terms of like rough position versus need is Sadiq at tight end, the Oregon tight end.
Just go straight need pick.
But I assume, knowing what I know, that the doctor would hate that. Tight end value at 19 overall, man would be disgusted at that.
Eric played Division II tight end.
He was a tight end.
But the point I was going to make is I could see him tackling the dude with the card. Like they decide to make the pick, and he just goes and stops him.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I feel as much as he was a tight end himself, I feel like he would.
I don't know if he'd let that
viscerally hate that draft pick.
I don't know if he lets that happen.
Now, Dan Morgan's a big man. So, you got to.
But
I mean, look, Eric's a big man too.
He's not the card guy.
It would be a clash of titans if he decided, I'm putting a stop to this. I'm not letting it happen.
Throw down.
But I think that's the most natural fit. But I don't know that the doctor would let it happen. So that would be interesting. I think it's probably defensive line or that to me.
Remind me again, they never locked up Ike Ekwonu long term.
Well, also, yeah,
and he's injured.
Patella blew apart.
Right, so you all of a sudden have a left tackle need.
Yes.
That you probably weren't anticipating if they were just going to
right.
let him either play the fifth-year option, lock him up. You got Tyler Moton on the other side. So that's late in the season new for Carolina.
So all of a sudden, Caleb Lomu from Utah is in the options. Caden Proctor, if you think he can play left tackle out of Alabama, which I don't know.
Don't know if he can.
Monroe Freeling, Georgia, as a tackle.
I feel like Freeling's going to rise a little bit as we get closer to the draft. Lomu reminds me of the guy that gave up between 3 and 14 pressures last night, Will Campbell. Some stuff to clean up. It might take a couple years.
Between 3 and 14.
Somewhere.
Meanwhile, people are out here promoting live stat tracking. It's going to take about 12 hours to clean up whether we had 3 or 14.
Well, I mean, the thing about NGS is it's done. It's done in real time. They just
no, I know. I mean, they've declared he gave up 14 already. We need to. It's going to take around 12 hours to determine how ridiculous that is as a statement.
PFF has it 5
and rising. My guess
it was 3.
So my guess was it will end at 7. My guess was 7 this morning. Now it's already moved in my direction, but it's not there yet. Anyway, you're right. Offensive line becomes a potential spot for them because all of a sudden their offensive line need may be acute. I don't know that they can bank on Ekwonu playing next year, or at least playing a lot of the season. So that's potentially on the board as well. They're also, free agencies coming up. Maybe they address that in that spot. All right. Lomu. Take their left tackle.
Really? You're going to do that?
Well, only because I think the alternative option would be Sadiq and the doctor might murder me.
Yeah, I don't think they'll do that.
Right. So then it's that, or do you go to the defensive line well again and select a TJ Parker or Caleb Banks? I think they might have to take a tackle.
Interesting.
No, I'm going to go Caleb Banks.
Done. I like that fit.
Done.
I really like the TJ Parker fit for them.
Yeah.
I think that his subpar senior season is a win for the teams in the teens and the 20s, because I still think he'll be okay. Caleb Banks, though, upside play here. Like him. Yeah, definitely next to Derek Brown. Cowboys up at 20. We already went defensive line. Went Keldrick Falk. All right, where are we going to go? Go back to the defensive line again? This is interesting. So we could go, if we go back to the need thing, C.J. Allen's the next linebacker on the board for Georgia. Linebacker at 20. So you didn't take Sonny Styles, but you get Keldrick Falk. Do you get linebacker again? Or come back to get your linebacker here? We talked about defensive tackle Christian Miller from Georgia. Discussed him on the show last time. Caden McDonald. Man, Caden McDonald's what they've needed.
That's the really interesting,
for a while.
Kenny Clark successor. It's like, did Kenny Clark really change this run defense, or did, things just break our way for a few weeks? Even if he did, given what I've said about age profile and contract, et cetera, like Caden McDonald might be the Kenny Clark heir apparent to then team up with Quinnen Williams on the inside.
What does Kenny have? He's got 2 years left. I'm not saying he's a sunk cost. Like, he's still a good player, Kenny Clark.
Mm-hmm.
I think they traded for him. But it wasn't just a throw in the Parsons deal. Like, he's filling a need at nose tackle for them or on the interior. So I don't know if they're going to move on from him necessarily. Then they go get Quinnen Williams, completely different type of player, and what he brings to the table. Similar size, but just different skill sets. Man, would they do this? I don't know. But if they hadn't, if they still had just Micah Parsons, Caden McDonald would be a really nice fit here. But they wouldn't have this pick either.
Yes.
The Packers pick. It's the Packers pick.
Right.
Can't get a Micah Parsons replacement directly. We already got the edge rusher in Keldrick Falk. Offense, pretty much everybody's locked up. Got to get a running back at free agency coming back here. Don't know if there's a safety play here for their other need. Corners. We've had the corner run. I think that's the other position.
That's a pretty acute need.
Yeah. I think I'm just going to do a little predictive. They're going to go C.J. Allen, Georgia linebacker here, and feel like they filled an edge rush and a linebacker need.
All right.
I'm going Georgia C.J. Allen.
Where is he on the consensus board? 29.
29. He's a little bit lower on PFF. Bunch of late first. I think, again, that's
It's 28 in PFS.
20. Yeah. They're a lot of movement to be had on the consensus board right now.
Right.
So this one,
it's
where Quay Walker went, right? This is what I say every year. This is where you start to pull people from like 35 on the consensus board.
Right.
In predictive mocks.
I mean, particularly in February.
It happens. Chop Robinson and Quay Walker, like those, they come off the board here in the 20s.
Particularly a day before the Super Bowl when none of this is really set.
Oh, yeah. It's very early.
So, C.J. Allen?
Yeah, C.J. Allen
Done.
and Keldrick Falk. We got two defensive players for the Cowboys getting back on track on that side of the ball.
All right. I believe you're going to tell us about our friends before I do another reset.
Certainly am. At Root Insurance. Root Insurance believes that good drivers deserve better rates. Good setup by you, by the way.
Thank you.
So they've created a new kind of car insurance to reward good drivers in an easy-to-use app. Traditional car insurance companies focus on demographics like age, zip code, occupation, and credit score to price your coverage. But when Root offers a rate, your behavior behind the wheel gets more weight than any other single factor. They don't use occupation or education level to negatively affect your rate. While you drive, Root gathers and analyzes data from your smartphone sensors, and after a few weeks, you'll get a car insurance quote based primarily on your driving. Save up to 44% off your initial Root quote after you take the test drive. If you need a tow truck, jump start, or lock your keys in the car, Root will cover the help you need to get back on the road when you opt into roadside assistance. The Root app makes it easy to edit your coverage, update your policy, or file a claim in just 3 minutes. You can start it today at Root.com. Puts you up on the clock at 21.
Well, it does, but first we're going to reset by saying that pick number 11
Beautiful.
Was the Miami Dolphins with Mansour Delane, the cornerback from LSU. Pick number 12 was the Dallas Cowboys, who went with Keldrick Falk, the edge rusher from Auburn. Pick number 13 was the Los Angeles Rams via the Atlanta Falcons, who drafted Mekhi Lemon, the wide receiver from USC. Pick number 14 was the Baltimore Ravens, taking Cassius Howell, the edge rusher from Texas A&M. Pick number 15, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers drafted linebacker Sonny Styles, TV character from Ohio State. Pick number 16, the New York Jets grabbed Peter Woods, defensive tackle from Clemson. Pick number 17, the Detroit Lions grabbed Spencer Fano, the tackle out of Utah. Pick number 18, the Minnesota Vikings grabbed cornerback Avion Terrell from Clemson. Number 19, the Carolina Panthers grabbed defensive tackle Caleb Banks from Florida. And pick number 20, the Dallas Cowboys just grabbed linebacker C.J. Allen out of Georgia, putting, as you said, the Pittsburgh Steelers on the clock at pick number 21.
Beautiful. Well done. Saw somebody giving you a Rich Eisen comp earlier in the chat.
For just being bald?
No.
Oh.
For your ability to reset, set the table, jump into like a bit of a host role. I'm the host, but you're the reset guy now. You're the mock draft guy.
My hairline is kind of...
Plus,
It's like late SportsCenter era Rich Eisen, where he hadn't quite decided it's time. It's like he's still clinging on to the hair a bit. And it's kind of, that's where it is roughly in terms of coverage. I mean, I've decided a while ago it was time. I'm just too lazy to shave it every day. Anyway, this is where I think a lot of people will obviously be talking about quarterback. It makes a lot of sense. Ty Simpson, Alabama at this spot. Even if, current reports are, rumblings are throughout the league?
Among league sources.
Rumblings among league sources.
People adjacent to league sources.
Are suggesting that Aaron Rodgers might come back for another year to the Pittsburgh Steelers now that his former coach, Mike McCarthy, is the head coach there, even though they seem to end on disastrous terms at Green Bay. Nonetheless, even if he comes back, I think this does make sense for Ty Simpson. In fact, maybe especially if he comes back. It's like Ty Simpson started 15 games or something. Like, the dude probably doesn't want to be starting day one as a rookie. The longer you can give him on the sideline, particularly if you're doing it with a real development in mind. And as he will tell you, nobody's developed more quarterbacks than Mike McCarthy, starting with Joe Montana at Kansas City.
Maybe Rodgers wants to come back so he could be developed once again by Mike McCarthy.
Maybe that's it. Maybe Rodgers is just lacking that last bit of development to push him over the edge and get another championship. But seriously, what's interesting about that is the one team in the last 30 years or whatever that does seem to take this long-term approach at quarterback and be willing to draft a guy and sit him for more than a year and follow through with it, right? Like I think a lot of teams do that in theory. We're going to draft this guy, we're going to sit him for a year, and then week 4 happens, the team's been a train wreck, and it's like, all right, what's the worst could happen if Blake Bortles has to play from now on? And the answer is usually, it's pretty bad, Jim, But because, but with Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers having both lived this, and Rodgers having lived both sides of this, I do think it might actually be a thing the Steelers would do now, right? Would we take a quarterback, sit him for an entire year, if not longer, roll with Aaron Rodgers, and then try and develop his successor? Possibly. Rodgers has also lived, the frustration of a team drafting someone that does no good for you right now in the first round.
That's the thing.
That's already happened.
And if Rodgers is coming back, and that's a big what if here. I
Right.
don't know if I'm sold on that happening, but if Rodgers is coming back, having a Denzel Boston on the board right now.
So that's the thing. Steelers, again, it's a lot like the Green Bay dynamic at the end of his career as well. It's like this team is crying out for wide receiver help. Sure, let's draft Jordan Love. It's kind of the same thing, only Rodgers is even older with less time on the clock.
So, yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one. Glad you're making this joke right now this year.
But
if Simpson doesn't go here.
This is where I think the first serious consideration for Ty Simpson would be. Honestly, I think we're having the conversation from wherever it was, pick 11 onwards or so. This is the first one where I think it's a real debate.
If Simpson doesn't go here,
yes,
then you're looking at, okay, the Browns at 24. They've got their second shot at a Simpson. And then you got the Rams at 29 with their second pick. If they want to, it's easier to sit the quarterback when you have 2 first-rounders, and that's going to be the other intriguing one. And then you have, okay, does someone trade back into the first round?
Yeah.
At that point. Or does he just fall? Go to the 5th round? Who knows? Maybe the NFL. I mean, we sat here. It's like, how much time did we waste discussing Shedeur Sanders? We thought he was going to go in the top 5. And then we were like, thought experiment. What if Shedeur falls? I remember doing a mock draft where we said, okay, the thing that's going to happen
if he makes it past Pittsburgh, ironically.
Yeah, we said, let's drop him to Pittsburgh. Let's just play this game out because we're going. It's a bunch of scenario analysis.
But Pittsburgh was the floor. Nobody ever considered really what happened if he gets past Pittsburgh, because Pittsburgh was seen as if he slides in the draft, he won't get by Pittsburgh, right? Nobody ever considered what happens if Pittsburgh passes and he falls 4 more rounds,
right? And that was even with, by the time the draft rolls around, we know in free agency every team's going to have a starter, right? But last year the starters were Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, like they were bridges.
This is almost more like
But some teams went with their bridge and didn't draft somebody.
It's almost more like the Kenny Pickett year, where it's like, okay, once the team picks their need at quarterback, then when does the next guy get taken? And we assumed that was going to be a lot earlier than it was. Like, somebody's going to take Matt Corral or Malik Willis or whoever it was, second round sometime. And they just didn't. They just went, no, none of these guys are any good. We're going to wait until the 3rd at the earliest. I kind of wonder if once Mendoza goes as the clear number 1 quarterback in this draft class, if you're looking at Ty Simpson, you're like 15 games, didn't end well, just don't love it. Jim, does he just slide to the 3rd round? Because none of the quarterbacks in this draft are actually worth taking after Mendoza.
Oh, man. But then it becomes a scarcity thing. Like if Malik Willis is out, if enough
But the scarcity ends if you don't see him as a starter. Like the scarcity is irrelevant if you don't think he's capable of being a starting quarterback.
I am very interested to see where the league has him. Because Shedeur's biggest thing was the interview process.
Yeah. He's a unique case.
Interview process. Yeah. I think Simpson and Mendoza both crushed the interview
That's
process.
why I'm saying it's more like the Kenny Pickett year, where Shedeur is a unique case. I don't like as soon as he stopped being seen as a starting quarterback in the eyes of the league, well, then there's no point in taking him because it might be more of a pain in the ass than he's worth.
We also might know kind of like if you read The Buzz. Enough people around the league really liked Tyler Shuck. Remember Jackson Dart? Remember the Jackson Dart discussion last year? We came back from the Senior Bowl, and all the insiders were like, man, he really solidified himself as a first rounder. We were like, what did he do?
Right.
What happened in that? Like, he was fine, but what did he do? And then combine. Well, Jackson Dart really solidified himself as a first rounder, but we didn't hear anything.
Every step of the way it was like, there's another Jackson Dart's nailed it.
And he ended up late first, and Shuck was in the second, but you kind of started to hear enough that, they're going to go higher than we think.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to know what the buzz comes 2 weeks from now with the buzz.
So that's why I'm curious if it's more like that Kenny Pickett year where it's like it's like Fernando Mendoza is the one guy in this draft class that starts, and after that, none of these guys are capable of it, and so they're not going to get drafted until like the mid rounds.
Well, you make your call, man.
Look, Aaron Rodgers is going to do me a solid by coming back this year, so I'm going to do him one and finally give him the first-round wide receiver that he's craved for the last 15 years.
Denzel Boston.
Yes, I'm going to draft Denzel Boston and just have a pair of impact wide receivers.
Puts the Chargers on the clock at pick 22. The top consensus guard is still there.
Mm-hmm.
We have an MVP caliber quarterback that we need to protect.
Correct. Desperately.
Ioane.
Can't have what happened
Penn State.
last year.
I've never tried saying
his first name.
I never tried it. Oliva Vega. How's that?
I would say Oliva Vega.
Oliva Vega. Ioane.
That would be my guess.
I'll have it by the draft.
Yeah.
I'm not like really abroad. You're not Rich Eisen. I'm not Kenny Mayne or anything. Like, I'm not working for ESPN where I have to have every name perfect when you're doing SportsCenter. You know.
Well, they have people that do that for them.
They have help.
They have somebody that sketches out. Here's the phonetic way of saying this guy's name. Don't screw it up.
And we do too, but it's Dane Brugler, and that thing doesn't come out till April.
Yeah,
by April we'll have it.
That's true.
That's what we usually wait till April.
Right.
Give me Ioane from Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
Going to the Chargers here.
Done.
If this is how it falls,
to the worst offensive line in football.
Yeah. Well,
albeit with some people coming back.
No, that'd be nice though. If Alt and Slater are healthy at tackle, big if.
I mean, Alt will be
fine.
Yeah.
If Slater comes back and he's okay.
Slater's the question mark because he's another guy coming off that patella tear, which does not have a great track record of people returning at full strength, albeit Josh Simmons just did it.
Then maybe we grab a center later.
Yeah.
If you're the Chargers, and get this thing back on track, or center in free agency.
Even though, like, Bradley Bozeman's responsible, I think, for the biggest tweet I've ever had. Remember that video where some guy tried to, like, rip Justin Herbert's leg off, and Bradley Bozeman just dispensed some summary justice on the field? Yeah. So he's locked into my heart for all time. It's just being, number one, he's the reason that tweet went huge, and number two, the idea that he just, like, leapt on a guy trying to hurt his quarterback is, I mean, his heart's in the right place, you know? Maybe his ability isn't anymore, but man wants to protect his quarterback.
The look of disgust on my face is I just opened up a page that has advanced metrics on the Chargers offensive line.
Yeah. Are they in fact ass?
Might be worse than I thought.
That's what I'm saying. It's just more justice for Sam.
Deculus, Trey Pipkins, Mekhi Becton, and Bradley Bozeman. That was a rough combination of players last year.
Yes, it was.
Look at you, ball knower.
I've been trying to tell people this, and they're
top
not interested.
Top four was reasonable, but anyway, here we go.
The Eagles.
Eagles at 23
on the clock. Pick number 23. Where would they go? So, TJ Parker would be pretty interesting, given their propensity to just consistently add talent on the defensive line always and forever. Offensive line is suddenly an intriguing option for them because, dude, we may be talking some serious things about this Eagles offensive line. Jeff Stoutland just ups and quits, right?
Yeah.
Not even like a retirement. He's just like, I'm out of here. That's actually, we should have talked about that on yesterday's show. That's like a huge story. Well, the rumblings are basically two things. Number one, that Jeff Stoutland had some fairly serious say in terms of, as a long-tenured and great offensive line coach, there were certain things that he liked more than others, right? And those guys tend to have an influence in, therefore, what the offense coordinator can run, right? Like, I prefer these specific things for my offensive linemen. Okay, but that means we can't necessarily run these types of plays, and that limits the offense and blah, blah, blah. So one report is that Stoutland had a reasonable degree of influence in what the Eagles' offense was able to call. which might go some way towards explaining why the Eagles' offense seems to look the same throughout every coordinator that runs through there. Again, always confounding variables, right? Is it the coach? Is it Jalen Hurts? Is it all of a sudden Jeff Stoutland, right? It's always frustrating. Anyway, so that's part of it. But then they bring in a new coaching staff, right, this offseason, and all of a sudden Jeff Stoutland finds his potential influence diminished a little bit. He's like, you know what? To hell with that. I'm out of here. And just ups and walks away. So, okay, number one, Stoutland, who's been talked about as like the best offensive line coach in the league for years, leaves the building. Lane Johnson's getting on and is being talked about as a potential retirement candidate. Landon Dickerson, who's just dealt with a bunch of knee injuries, is being talked about as a potential retirement candidate. So all of a sudden, two of your offensive linemen may be retiring, and your offensive line coach, who's been credited for keeping this thing trucking for years, is just upped and left. That's a lot of turnover on a unit that's been a really important driving force to this team being good.
Yeah, that's a lot. Well said. Now, they still have Willie Lampkin under contract.
The great
Willie Lampkin, if you want to put him out there. But yeah, that's some questions there. I mean,
what if this is the opportunity that Willie's been looking for? Landon Dickerson just, quits, retires, walks away with his shoddy knees, and Willie's like, I got you. Steps in, just crushes.
Cam Jurgens underwhelmed a little bit. Dickerson's good when he's out there, and Lane Johnson, obviously one of the best, if not the best, right tackle. And the Eagles always do a good job of looking ahead. Last year, they drafted 3 tackles who were very much in the developmental type.
I will say there have been. This is probably a little quick for this to happen, but there have been times. I forget who it was, the most recent version of this, but the rumblings began that a guy was contemplating retirement on the offensive line, and in part that was because he had visibly already lost like 30 pounds of weight. It's like, you know what? He's probably not coming back at that size.
That was Luan.
Was that who it was? Yeah, maybe that was it.
I mean, Taylor was like in the middle of he was doing the podcast.
Right.
He was
now
like weighing like 250 or something.
Right.
It's like,
now it's February the 9th. It would, that would be pretty quick as a weight loss scheme for Lane Johnson. But I will say, having been standing 6 feet from the man, he's looking ready to go.
Yeah, we saw him the other night.
As in ready to play, not ready to quit.
Yeah, he's fine.
Yeah.
He looks fine. But, I'm interested in
all this to say that this is a team that may need offensive line help, even though they've got bodies in place. This would be like TJ Parker would be a really interesting option for them just at this value spot. But they might need offensive linemen. I might end up going Caleb Lomu just because of the need. So, yeah, I'm doing it.
Need him in Cleveland. You stole my pick.
It's a tough scene. Hate to see it.
I thought you were going to start talking yourself into an edge rusher with.
I mean, I was, but I think I remembered that most of their offensive line may no longer be playing.
Saw Brandon Graham, too. He didn't remember you.
No. He looks jacked, by the way. Like that guy, I mean, he came back off the couch to play and wasn't looking in great shape before he did that. He looks in good nick.
Well, yeah.
Like better nick than he's looked, when he was playing.
Played in the NFL.
Yeah, but you
took Lomu here, huh?
I did.
Oh, man. Brown's up on the clock. First time around, I played this game. I said, let's go receiver first with Carnell Tate. Could have taken, still had, Maui Noah was off the board, but I still had
options.
Spencer Fano on the board, who went at 17. The tackle options are dwindling now because we need offensive linemen pretty bad here.
Specifically because you don't love Caden Proctor out of Alabama, right? He's 20 on the consensus board and is being projected even higher than that in some places.
Yeah, he's not necessarily on my don't draft list. He's probably going to be on my just
be worried about it.
I don't want to draft him list.
Probably. This same school.
It's not don't draft list. It's I don't want to draft him.
It's Tyler Booker again. It's like there's just too much about this that's scary at this point.
Yeah. And now Booker was pretty good as a rookie. Workouts do matter when you're projecting interior offensive linemen, matter a little bit when it comes to tackles, so let's see. But like Proctor got whooped against Florida State, and I think he's a worse version of J.C. Latham. Is my problem with the evaluation process right now. Now, could he play guard? Sure. Do I want to take that right now? I don't know.
And they do kind of need everything on the line.
They do. So that could work. Monroe Freeling is the next tackle on the board. He's more of a traditional tackle from Georgia. He's at 33 on the consensus board. Again, things are dwindling for the big bodies. Oh, man.
Emmanuel Pregnon is 35
He's
in
the
the
next
consensus
pure
board
guard.
from Oregon.
From Oregon. Maybe I'll take Proctor here, though, anyway. It's going to feel like such a need pick.
Or you just draft Iowa. Always draft Iowa offensive lineman.
I'll go get Mullet. That's too early for Mullet.
Is it ever too early for an Iowa offensive lineman with a mullet?
Play the board and let Mullet fall to you later. Oh, man. I'll take Proctor here. With the idea, like, he's not an awful tackle prospect. There's just, again, speed rushers. We've got some questions here.
You can imagine if you ever became an NFL GM, just how sad you would be in the war room if the draft board fell in such a way that you had to take a player you didn't love.
Well, no, I would draft completely differently here. I mean, if I was in the war room for the Browns,
I'm just saying, at some point,
I wouldn't have all these needs.
At some point, the board would fall.
I would probably pick T.J. Parker.
Yeah. At some point, the board would fall in such a way that you're forced into making a pick that you just don't want to make, and you'd be so sad.
I would take the next trade down immediately.
Right, but there'd be nothing. Nobody's calling. You're desperately searching, and the clock's ticking down. You're under like 60 seconds, and the guys beside you are like, "Dude, it's not happening. You got to make a pick," and you'd be like, "Fine, give me Caden Proctor."
And then I'd go like this.
Right. The camera's on, guys. Celebrate the pick. You'd be like, anyway, Chicago Bears on the clock.
Inside info on. There's got to be a team out there where you're like, all right, we're picking. We have four. We're up fourth. Mm-hmm. We got three guys that we love, and like all three go.
Yeah.
There's got to be. I need some GM. I need Telesco or Spielman or guys that we have on the board. Mike T.
Right, your classic fantasy draft where you just get sniped.
Yeah.
Twice.
Tell me about the draft, because every press conference is
got our
guys.
Guy.
They all love ball. It's beautiful. There's got to be one draft where you came out of it and it's like we got sniped in every round.
Yeah. We just got nothing we were shooting for.
We got our fourth option every single time. I tried to trade up.
Right.
All of them failed. It's just we didn't execute well. Like somebody had to have a bad day. Not just the results of the draft, but like the process.
But just like unlucky
was bad. Now maybe it worked out good because who knows the evaluation process. But you just didn't get the guys who I need a story where somebody just didn't get anybody that
like the unluckiest draft in NFL history. Just start to finish. Every time we thought we were getting a guy, he just got sniped in front of us. We had to pivot. Nobody was picking up the call. Disaster.
I want full transparency, and then I want the story of all these players turned out.
It turned out that was our best draft we'd ever had,
or they didn't.
Yeah,
right. And what ended up happening? Somebody,
the results of that draft were the best of my tenure.
Some GM has to give me that story. I'm going to dig for that.
Chicago Bears on the clock, pick number 25. I think this is a run up to the podium deal for T.J. Parker, edge rusher, Clemson.
Wow,
defensive lineman, still a need for Chicago. I think they run this right up to the board.
It's a good fit there. I like it. T.J. Parker to the Bears.
Done. Already in.
Now I got to think again.
Buffalo.
Bills up on the clock. No Denzel Boston. No X receiver.
Mm-hmm. Again.
Don't
worry, though. Brandon probably doesn't believe they need one still.
Oh, jeez. Here we go. Culture shift going on over there. Joe Brady. Defensive linemen are intriguing here. The eternal. So with Sean McDermott out, the eternal. They're not always undersized on the defensive line, but they feel on that side. On the. They had DeQuan Jones and Deion Walker is big, but they just felt like they got moved on the D-line for a while. Is Caden McDonald the guy here? Because Deion Walker's not like a true nose.
Right. He looks like he should be, but he's not. Right.
He's more of a penetrator, kind of boom or bust the way he plays because he'll get moved with some high pad level, but he can disrupt. O-line has become a sneaky need depending on what happens in free agency here. They have David Edwards and Connor McGovern, left guard and center, both as free agents here. Mm-hmm. The one underrated part of this Bills run has been the health and consistency of the offensive line. That group's been together for a few years now.
Yeah.
Hasn't been a lot of offensive lines with that kind of continuity. I wonder if I think they'll try to keep it together, right, with that group. But O-line depth, Osiris Torrance heads into his last year of his deal. O-line depth could definitely be in play here. And then the usual, we need an outside, playmaker. Is it too early for a Chris Bell? Do I just force that? Did we bring him into the first round last year?
You've
last
been
week?
You've been talking it up.
I think Boston was here for them last week, though. I'll stay responsible. I'm going to go nose tackle. with Caden McDonald. Kristen Miller's really intriguing, though, too. I think he's got a little bit more upside as like a disruptor. But I'm going to go the line resetting Caden McDonald. We're getting tougher.
Getting tougher.
In Buffalo.
Yes.
We're getting tougher in Buffalo.
Even though we're moving inside to the dome.
Yeah, we're getting...
Is that a dome, that thing? Then you say it is, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
They're getting softer, to be honest.
Getting softer.
A dome in Buffalo? What an embarrassment.
It's disgusting.
Puts you up on the clock for the Niners.
It does. San Francisco 49ers on the clock, pick number 27.
We were just out there.
We were, sort of. Well, I guess we were in San Francisco. It's just the 49ers aren't. Yeah, they've got needs. Quite a lot of them, actually. Obviously, the wide receiver thing is weird because you've got this Brandon Ayuk situation where I assume he's not going to be there anymore.
Yeah, he's gone.
And he's their best wide receiver by a distance.
I want to know who wants that guy. Who
wants well,
Brandon Ayuk?
On the field, most of the teams in the NFL should want him. But when was the last time a guy basically just downed tools and decided he wasn't going to play for you anymore?
Does this give the Niners, by the way, remember Devondre Campbell just straight up left the field?
Yes, mid-game.
Do they have the strangest departures of the last couple of years? What's going on over there? Devondre Campbell just bailed mid-game.
It's the substation.
The substation is messing with their... It's not the ACLs that it's weak. Maybe it's weakening.
It's weakening the brain.
Tendons in the brain. Ayuk just doesn't return phone calls for anyone, and Devondre Campbell left mid-game.
It's the strangest thing because it only makes any kind of sense if you're like he wants a new contract and more money. Only they just paid him. Like you know what I mean? Like wide receivers or other players have done crazy things like that as like this is how you get paid, right? Didn't Hassan Reddick kind of did this, right? Like, no, I'm not playing. I'm holding in. I'm holding out. I'm downing tools until you give money. And then eventually he fired his agent. And Drew Rosenhaus was like, you know what? It's not going to happen. The only way of doing anything is to show up, right? But that's kind of what happened, right? But he just got paid. Like, this doesn't make any sense. No. He just randomly decided I'm quitting.
Who even takes a chance on that?
I honestly don't know. Like, I guess somebody rolls the dice, but it has to be for like nothing, right? Even though theoretically this guy is like a top 10 wide receiver in football.
When he's at his best, yeah.
Who just signed a new contract. Like it's an insanely valuable thing, only it can't be worth anything anymore because he literally just basically upped and quit on a franchise. Bizarre situation. Anyway, the point is all that's a long way of saying that San Francisco needs wide receivers in addition to everything on defense.
Right. So what are you going to do?
What am I going to do? I'm going to swing at pass rusher again, and I'm going to take Akeem Mesidor from Miami.
6-year player.
Yep.
25.
Yep.
It's like the opposite of Mykel Williams.
Correct.
It's good. Productive player.
Which is peak NFL thinking. You know?
Diversified.
The last guy that we drafted didn't quite happen yet, so I'm going to go the full opposite correction.
Balance it out. Oh, I just did a 6-7 thing by accident. Oh, I'm not on it. Not on camera. I was just balancing.
That's become, different now. Anyway, Houston's on the clock.
Akeem Mesidor to the Niners. Houston's on the clock. I'm going with what I did last week. Kristen Miller from Georgia.
Locking it in, all right.
Interior disruptor, defensive tackle. Just keep adding to that defensive line.
You're right. All the teams with 2 picks, it bounces out. I get the Rams again.
And you get the Rams again. This is great.
It's amazing.
It's a good year for this. I hope there's no trades ahead of draft time.
Just for the mock drafting people.
Just for the...
And only the people that alternate.
Just for the alternating mocks. You get the odds, I get the evens, and we'll switch at some point, and it's great. And we get to pick for the same team. So I'm taking Kristen Miller, defensive tackle out of Georgia. Love this addition for the Texans to just continue to wreak havoc up front.
Yep. So I took Mekhi Lemon, the wide receiver from USC, with my pick at number 13 overall. I'm now up again at pick number 29. As you said, there's a conversation for Ty Simpson at this spot, given Matthew Stafford's age and, decrepitude and blah, 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 even though he's coming back.
Decrepitude.
I don't know that that's a word, but you know what I'm saying?
I completely know what you're saying, and I love it. I think it's great. Not that he's decrepit, but decrepitude.
But he's like you. He spent his time in the Airstream getting his back fixed before the season, and then he's good to go, apparently.
Chiropractor 2:30 today, but I could use a little
Airstream fix. An Airstream fix. You wouldn't even fit in an Airstream.
I love a bus that could rejuvenate my body.
Anyway, The point is, you've got to at least be thinking about the future at quarterback. And, it does feel like that kind of bonus pick where we've already drafted a wide receiver. Maybe now we get the Ty Simpson, sit him for a year behind Matthew Stafford. I'm kind of just coming around to the opinion that I don't know that anybody drafts him in the first round. Or at least I'm not.
Simpson?
Yeah. It's too scary to me. The 15 starts thing, the list of QBs, is just bad. I don't want a part of it. I just don't want it. I'm like you with just let someone else draft him. I don't want to make that mistake. I'm not doing it. So I'm not doing it. I think they could definitely use offensive line help with Rob Havenstein where he is.
Warren McClendon did fill in admirably this year.
Sure, but I'm not loving that as a solution going forward, or at least my only solution going forward. Cornerback would definitely be on the table. And we're getting into this range at the bottom of the first round where you're starting to see cornerback value again. I think, you could definitely talk yourself into one of the guys, your favorite. Corner is always this weird spot where it's like, what are you looking for? But South Carolina's Brandon Cisse. How do you guess another one that said the rest of the world over? Cisse?
Yep.
Okay.
So.
Abney, Colton Hood from Tennessee. Like, you're getting into the world of these guys at this kind of pick. So I think those are all on the table. Sadiq, if you want to run, all the tight ends all the time. I think I'm going to go offensive line, though.
15 personnel.
15 personnel, you're right. Or
one back, 5
just
tight ends.
5 personnel.
5.
Right. 0-5.
0-5 personnel.
5 personnel.
All tight ends. And Sadiq, dude, if he was the running back, you put Sadiq. I am telling you, when the Patriots did that with Aaron Hernandez, with his running ability, that could literally break. It broke defenses.
It really did.
I'm like, why did you not do this every other drive? They did that against Houston in the playoffs, 2012.
It's kind of
no huddle the entire first drive, and it's like they had no answers because you can't adjust for it.
It's very, it's frustrating.
Give me a tight end that could run the ball.
It's unfortunate for many reasons that Aaron Hernandez is remembered for the things that Aaron Hernandez is remembered for, because he was such a paradigm-breaking player that if we just eliminated everything else and focused on what he was as a football player, it's such a fascinating individual that should have been in a copycat league, that should have been a guy that was a player that teams tried to replicate more, and they really haven't, I think, in part because of what he's remembered for. But Sadiq brings some of that stuff to the table. Like, you could imagine him doing some of that stuff. Anyway, don't think the Rams will do that because they already have 68 tight ends on the roster. I'm going to go with Freeling, the tackle from Georgia.
Oh, I didn't have the third. I have the. I was going to say I was looking ahead, and that's not. New England would have been good for him at 31 because Will Campbell has to play guard after last night.
Has to play guard after last night.
But I have the Broncos.
With the still little arms. Can't play tackle anymore.
I have the Broncos up first. This is a fun one. Again, like, the Broncos are going to go into the offseason once again. We spent all last year saying not a lot of needs. So, not a lot. Need a running back last year. Needed a tight end. Filled that in free agency. This year, you could always use D-line depth, right? Future-proof in there. Might need a starting linebacker, which could be a good draft for that. Running back depth. Starting center. That's about it. Not much for Denver. And then the question is, okay, do they have enough at receiver? Do they have enough at receiver? Because there's not like a dude, but Cortland Sutton, Troy Franklin, Pat Bryant, Marvin Mims. When you add it up, it's pretty solid. It's like what the Colts have had the last few years. It's like solid across the board. 1 week Franklin's good, 1 week Bryant's good. Sutton's the best player, but what do you do with that? Do you add more to that? And I would say, do you add a deep threat? But that's kind of like what Mims and Franklin do.
Right.
A lot of times when you have just a good group, you just add a speed receiver, and it's like, all right, that's a different skill set. But I think they've got a lot of things. Now, do you want to keep – are they the Kenyans? They're just going to get the tight end again?
Well, so Sadiq is the highest player available on the consensus board at 18. So he's starting to look like value at this point. Ty Simpson would be the next one. Obviously, they're not in the quarterback market. Who's next? Then you're all the way down to Cisse at 30.
And they already drafted a corner in the first round when they didn't need him last year.
Right.
Theoretically. And Jahdae Barron.
Depending on what you think he is going forward.
True. So I think Sadiq, I think Broncos fans are going to get bored getting Sadiq falling to
It
them.
makes a lot of sense.
I don't look at other mocks.
Particularly at this spot. Like it is, again, if he's 18 on the consensus board, he's 24 in PFFs. This is pick 30. It's also a position that they could use. I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
I don't look at enough of other mocks. I look at other mocks. I don't look at enough of them to see, is this a really common one? Just like last year, Colston Loveland was the guy that everybody kept mocking to the Broncos, but I will go Sadiq here.
The consensus board is sending him to the Panthers because they don't know about the doctor and his...
Perhaps his influence.
And or hatred of
top 3 to 5
non-valued positions.
Carolina Panthers organization. Give me Sadiq, Kenyon Sadiq, Oregon tight end. Going to the Broncos at 30. Puts you up on the clock for the Patriots.
Yeah. The New England Patriots coming off their disappointing Super Bowl loss.
They did. They are.
And obviously tackle Will Campbell now having to play guard because of his stumpy arms. I do feel like he's gotten an undue volume of criticism based off really that game, but like the last few games as well.
On 57 dropbacks, he is somewhere between 5 and 14 pressures allowed, depending on source.
And I think it's going to be a lot closer to 5 than 14.
Which is the difference between reasonable tackle and
shitbag.
Working at Amazon, as he said. You give up 1 sack a game, you're working at Amazon,
right?
Which keeps going around here.
Yeah.
And by the way, there's total pressures is not the best way to evaluate linemen anyway, because speed of pressure and how like bad. The problem with Will Campbell going back to college is the speed of like how bad they are. When he loses, it's poor. And it's almost like that might be the saving grace, I think, for him. Like the thing that I think he can clean up. It's not a high volume of losses.
I mean, your guy, Willie Anderson, was out there this morning.
Willie had some solutions for him.
Well, his point is he was like, look, it's not an arm problem at the moment, right? Yeah. His point was all having long arms does is enable you to be later with your hands. He's like, that's not why Will Campbell is losing right now. You know, this is not, and he's speaking as a long-armed individual, Willie. Right. He's like, this is not what's happening to him at the moment. This is not a guy that's losing because of his short arms. This is a guy that's losing because of technique problems, and we can fix that. And it's almost like he doesn't trust himself right now the way he's playing. I read you out the thing. I forget who the quote was from, but like, you know, Will Campbell effectively declined multiple interview requests last night and then bailed, right? It's like that. Can you imagine? Like every one of those interview requests was just about to be like, so how'd you get your ass kicked tonight? Like that dude is under the cosh right now of getting scapegoated, really. I mean, he's being really ripped apart for what I don't think was that bad a performance, even in that game and overall this season. I think I comped him to Charles Leno to you earlier, which is a guy that's, I mean, number one, he's a rookie, right? So who knows how much better he'll be in year 2. But number 2, even if he stays at this level going forward, he is an average caliber starting offensive tackle in the NFL, and people hate those guys. There's immense value to them. But the other guy was the Steelers guy that got Dan Moore.
Mike Remmers.
Steelers fans hated Dan Moore because every time he played Myles Garrett, he got absolutely reamed, right? And Charles Leno, Washington fans hated Charles Leno. Bears fans hated Charles Leno because average tackles lose against elite defensive linemen, and they tend to lose ugly because, you know, elite defensive linemen are a lot better than average. So it looks bad, right? But those guys are actually average. They're actually pretty good players. It's just people hate them for that.
Yeah.
Will Campbell's going through that now. It's like right now he's an average caliber left tackle in the NFL. And that means when you run up against some really good players, you're going to get your ass whooped.
And I'm telling you, Walt, whatever numbers you guys are seeing on the internet that say he gave up 14 pressures, Will Campbell, are wrong. It's just wrong.
Yes. 14 is crazy.
I got to go back through
again. I said my guess was 7. It's PFF is still working through their second run, all 22 stuff. It's currently up at 5, you said. I think it's going to end up 5, 6, 7, somewhere in there. It's not 14. It's not even in the realm of 14.
And even that number, again, doesn't capture the context. If anything, I would say the context maybe works against him because there's some bad losses in there. But right. I don't know what else next gen is adding to that. Will Campbell had a decent rookie season. He got smoked by Will Anderson.
Yes.
Those were clear as day. He did get help in a lot of games.
Which, by the way, is also true for most tackles that Will Anderson faced this year.
Yes, of course.
He wrecked
Absolutely.
people.
But you also have, like, Warren Sharp put out, like, a bad cut block.
Stop it already.
I'm just saying, but this is why this is why people think Will Campbell sucks.
Nothing good has ever come.
He had a bad cut on Nick Bonito.
Nothing good has ever followed the start of a sentence that begins, Warren Sharp put out.
Between that and the 14 pressure number, people think this is like the worst tackle in football, and he's not. He's a rookie who had his struggles. I don't know that arm length is necessarily one of the reasons, but I do know that would help, like you said, help you be late.
Yeah.
He's worse with his footwork and core strength right now.
Which is the problem.
That if he can fix that, and the guy that I said the best comp for him is Luke Gedeke, who's a good tackle now for the Bucs.
Who also struggled pretty badly early, right?
Struggled as a rookie. He was playing guard.
Sure.
As a rookie. But by year 2 and 3, he was good and just signed a big deal with the Bucs. Like, that's your comp. Mm-hmm. Does he play on the right side? Yes. It's the same thing. They're asking the same thing of both players. So Luke Gedeke would be the guy to keep an eye on. Like, you don't give up on Will Campbell and move him to guard just because. And he was actually pretty good in the run game this year as well, as far as power, movement, and everything.
So I say, I think he's being scapegoated fairly unfairly.
But this is while we're talking about this, the whole thing with pressures allowed, right? A lot of us are in this mind, like if Drake May gets pressured 30 times, we just live in this world where you just want them assigned. And your brain wants them assigned to all the offensive linemen. Like there's 14 here and there's 6 there and there's 4 there. And it's just not how football works. And it's not how the company we used to work for works because they care about the context. I don't know if I trust all of the different ways that these things are measured because I don't know if they have the proper context, which is the depth of the quarterback. My mom, watching the game, apparently was yelling, throw the ball, throw the ball, throw the ball. My mom doesn't. She's a ball knower. She knows you got to get rid of the ball.
Right.
And so how much is on the quarterback holding the ball, and that becomes a pressure? How much of it's just straight up unblocked, and it's either a miscommunication, bad protection call, right call, missed assignment, or they just beat the protection. Like Mike McDonald is a genius at just beating the protection.
Yeah,
Protection's fine, but they didn't have somebody accounted for.
A lot of people. I mean, Chris was saying on the broadcast, I saw Adam Archuleta saying it, like they just never had answers for basically the same looking blitz that the Seahawks were deploying time after time after time, right? That load up one side, blitz the slot off the other side, and the Patriots never seemed to have an answer for that blitz. And some people were like, this is not a particularly complicated look. Like this everybody does this, right? Why have they not found an answer to this yet? Point is, they didn't at any point find an answer for it. And every time that happened, it sent Drake May somewhere different in the pocket, and that made Will Campbell's job harder a lot of the time.
And then just the other piece of context that's missing, and again, I'm not saying Will Campbell played a great game last night, and he left early, didn't answer questions. He probably didn't feel great.
I think he left early. He just didn't answer.
He didn't answer questions.
Declined to answer questions. But my point is, I feel sorry for him for that. Like he just had a gaggle of people that wanted to ask him why he got his ass so badly handed to him in the Super Bowl.
You won Thursday night.
Right. It's like, dude, leave him alone. Like the guy's a rookie who didn't play that badly relative to everybody else. Like don't make him the story.
The other piece of context there is, like if you look at it matters that they drop back 57 times versus, say, 30 times.
Right.
If he had the same number of ugly losses on 30 dropbacks, that's bad.
Sure.
But 57 times, you're going to lose some.
Particularly late in the whole fourth quarter was must pass.
It was. And you could say, they're sitting back. I mean, you got to win one-on-ones.
Yeah.
So, anyway, all that to be said.
Yeah.
I don't think they're drafting his replacement. I don't think they should draft his replacement.
No.
At 31 if, say, Monroe Freeling was still on the board.
Right. Which he isn't. So, more to the point, even if you wanted to do that, it's not the place to do it. This is where I'm going. No, should I go rogue given that the Patriots fans already hate me?
Definitely. Oh, yeah, I'm glad that you're doing the Patriots pick. You could save your reputation.
Well, the easy pick would be Casey Concepcion, wide
receiver
from Texas A&M.
For Drake.
That would be the easy pick, right? But you're like, is there too much redundancy there with Kyle Williams already? You know, is he already about to take a step forward and be a dominant force? The pick. Remember last year we kind of pushed the Jaden Higgins for first round hype, right? We were like, telling you, this guy should be a first rounder. And maybe he should have been, right? Given what they gave up to get him, arguably what they coughed up to move there was worthy of a first round pick. Based off of the Senior Bowl.
This guy wants me to answer the door.
It's not going to happen. You're busy.
Based off the Senior Bowl.
Based off the Senior Bowl, I think Malachi Fields may end up sneaking into the first round.
Malachi Fields?
Over the next couple of months.
Post-Senior Bowl, Mom.
Notre Dame Malachi Fields from Notre Dame's #1 wide receiver. As soon as I find him, having scrolled down 8 pages.
He's way down there, man.
I know, yeah, I know. Well, he's 59 on the consensus board right now. And I think somehow, tragically, even lower than that on PFF's board.
This is like the Jaden Higgins.
It's early, right? We've been saying, look, it's early. You know, you're talking Chris Bell for the first round, Omar Cooper Jr., people love. You know, I'm just going down a little.
Bell's coming off an ACL.
A little bit further. 97 for PFF? Come on.
Get Cooper.
No, we're going Malachi Fields. Look, you think it's crazy now, but it's February the 9th. In early April, it's going to look genius.
It's going to look great. It's going to look great.
Plus, as we said, look, Patriots fans already hate me, so what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
No, don't answer that. The worst that could happen is bad. What's the second worst thing that could happen? What is this guy at the door? Like, what are you?
I don't know, but he was trying to get my attention. I'm live on air. I'm trying to work.
Right, we're busy.
Got to work through
we need the on-air button like the people down the hall.
It puts the
Seahawks, world champion
Seattle Seahawks up on the clock. People hate that we said Will Campbell didn't play that as poorly as the numbers.
They hate that we said he didn't play as poorly as the numbers. They're like, Will Campbell's trash. Screw that guy.
I haven't heard a tackle take as much heat as he has.
He's really, I think, genuinely being unfairly scapegoated. Not just for last night, but like generally in the last couple of months. He's not been that bad.
He was against the Texans.
Sure, so but again, everybody gets wrecked by the Texans. So, you know.
Where is he? Malachi Fields.
Okay. 97 apparently on PFF's board. Wow. He's a whole round higher in the consensus. So Trevor just hates him.
You are just clickbait master now.
Look, Trevor hates him, and that's not my fault.
All right, Seahawks up on the clock.
Yes.
They have interior O-line needs.
Still.
Got Gray Zabel last year. You can't go guard again.
Oh, John Schneider would never let that happen.
Replacing Anthony Bradford. That would be the way. They won a Super Bowl with Bradford at right guard, which is impressive. For instance, like Bradford may have been worse than Will Campbell last night.
Yes.
Does anybody know? Well, no, because Sam Darnold moved away from the sacks. He avoided the sacks.
I think Bradford was significantly worse than Will Campbell last night.
Watch the film. You got to watch the film. Seattle has a lot of cap space and not a lot of starters that are no longer under contract. The most notable one is Super Bowl MVP, Kenneth Walker, by the way. I don't think they would
Running back?
Yeah. I don't think they would go like with the Rashad Penny move here and go with a running back. You know, like the Super Bowl champs feeling really good about their roster, and it's just put a running back in there. I don't think they would do that.
Penny should have been so good.
I'll be curious to see what they do with Walker coming off of all that momentum.
Who's RB2 in this class?
So Renner, noted Notre Dame homer, but not in his analysis. He's objective. He likes Notre Dame, the other Notre Dame running
Jadarian Price?
Yes.
So does PFF, apparently.
So he's got Jadarian Price. PFF has Price. I'm a Jonah Coleman fan. I'm surprised the consensus board and everything isn't higher on Nick Singleton, but he had a very disappointing final season. He's explosive. He'll be an intriguing evaluation, former 5-star. But it's a pretty good class. You got to add former 5-star.
Former 5-star.
Because he showed those flashes.
Uh-huh.
So where does Seattle go here with so few needs?
Yep.
I think I know
I
wanted to do. There was a player I wanted to get into the first round last week that I did not.
Okay.
I just got to look at some, contract situations. I got it. Boye Mafe, I got it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going Missouri edge rusher Zion Young.
Ooh.
So Senior Bowl, excellent Senior Bowl, productive player, speed to power, got multiple ways to win off the edge. I'm going Zion Young. I don't know how low is he for PFF.
It's not that low. There he is, 45.
45. There we go. Zion Young out of Missouri.
Done.
I think Seattle can go back to the D-line. I know they wrecked shop last night.
Yeah.
But they're from contract, keep the flow going, go back to the D-line.
And it's like, we're giving a ton of credit to Mike McDonald schematically. I don't know that the people are looking at that defensive line and going, man, it's just loaded with talent everywhere. It's like this is
very good across the board.
The scheme is making this tick.
Very good across the board.
The defensive line talent could be upgraded.
Yeah, keep going. Very good players across the board. keep adding to it. It's the best mock we've done this week.
Yeah? Well, this week, definitely.
This week.
Right.
Since last week, at least.
I think so. I think that's true.
A couple stretches in there. We got just mix in a reach.
I mean, look, after the last few days, what have we learned, right? Never wrong, just early, right? You think this is crazy. I'm telling you, I'm just early on Malachi Fields. We're going to get to April, and people are going to owe me apologies again.
Trendsetter.
People are going to owe me more apologies. That's what's going to happen.
Mr. Clickbait.
Maybe.
Mr. Clickbait over here.
Mr. Clickbait.
Anyway, it's Mock Draft Monday. We did it. On little sleep. Doesn't matter. No Super Bowl hangover here. We worked. No. We're here doing a mock draft. We just enjoy all the discussion, the interaction with everybody. Coming up now, full off-season mode, as I said. We're going to the Combine in 2 weeks.
Off-season season.
We'll be talking free agency quite a bit. We'll be talking about every single team. We fix every team. Give them even Seattle. Fix them.
Even Seattle.
Set them up for to go back-to-back. So we like to do that this entire offseason.
Get Mina to fix the Seahawks.
We could do that. Well, let us know who do you want to hear? Who would you like to hear from as far as guests go? Who would you like to hear from? But we got Wednesday, Thursday, 9 a.m. So we're back to off-season schedule. Monday at 9, Wednesday at 9, Thursday at 9. Plus, you never know when we'll go live.
Never know.
We'll go live at any point when the big news breaks. We still have some coaching. I think Wednesday we'll have to go back to a lot of the coaching moves that we haven't even discussed. Shouty shows.
Yeah.
There'll be some really good Shouty show content.
Remember, send in your submissions for Shouty shows, particularly if they've been ripping my MVP pick. Check the mic at the33rdteam.com is the email address. So if you found a particularly spicy Shouty show, take on anything really, but particularly, railing against me, that would be funny.
All right, man. That's it for us today. Yeah, go listen. Email it. All this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. We'll see you again Wednesday. More. Check the mic.